State Truck Equipment, Allisonville Road at 106th Street, 849-4903 or mid-statetruck.com.
Afraid to look at your financial statements? Shredding them without opening them? It's time for a second opinion from Edelman Financial Engines. Our opinions aren't based on intuition or daily market movements. They're grounded in institutional rigor, and all of our planners are fiduciaries who put your interest above all others. So if you need help managing the ups and downs of this market, we're ready to talk. At Edelman Financial Engines, you get personalized investment recommendations from a dedicated wealth planner who doesn't sell products to earn commissions. So stop shredding those financial statements. Let's take a look together. It's time to get a second opinion. Get your complimentary wealth checkup where you can discuss your financial goals with a wealth planner. Call Edelman Financial Engines at 888-899-4450. That's 888-899-4450. Or visit efewealthplanners.com.
835 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
I would say the word refreshing comes to mind on this Friday morning for myself, Kevin Bowen. Marc Dykton sitting in the co-host chair today. No issues with the headset at 6:59?
No.
No issues scrambling for password logins. No complaining about printers not working. Ready to go.
Yep. I was here early.
Locked in. Marc Dykton, prepared to educate and entertain. And at times, I think the person that usually sits in that chair maybe is a slow starter, particularly on Friday mornings.
Now, there might be something in the chair that will, like, by 8 o'clock, I might do like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. But for now, so far, so good.
Yeah, something about that seat that just all of a sudden leads you to...
I'll start asking, like, does the sun rise in the day while you guys are on the air?
You know, pray for the 9:30 segments on Fridays. That's typically where I'm at. Good Friday morning to you. Jake Query is, I believe, en route to, was it Baton Rouge?
Baton Rouge. Well, they were landing in New Orleans, which they did, and then, I believe the trek was starting in Baton Rouge.
Right. He would definitely want a friend drop early in the show. So Mike Byron and him heading up to Baton Rouge, Oxford, Mississippi tomorrow for Ole Miss and Auburn, and then back to Indianapolis. Jake will be with us on Monday, but it'll be myself and Marc Dykton and Sam Fritz on the ones and twos. Sam, good Friday morning to you, and thank you for filling in.
Thank you for having me. It's this is always my favorite time of day to be up. 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, an hour's passed already.
Good to hear Sam is lying on this Friday morning to you. Mark, I thought that my eyes had finally kind of scabbed up from last Thursday night. I was good. I was back to normal health, no eye bleeding. Before the Thursday night game started last night, I was kind of looking in the mirror, making sure everything looked okay. And sure enough, I think after they both traded punts to start the game, they started to bleed again, and they didn't stop, and now here I am, feeling the same way as I felt last Friday night.
I mean, I put my very little reputation on the line that a touchdown won't be scored, and I'm not going to lie, I sweated for a while. I was like, oh my God.
You did. Hey, that was a hell of a throw by Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very inconsistent, though. You see those throws, because people are asking me, are you giving up on Fields? I'm like, well, no, it's been 16 games, and he's had a regime change and all that. But yeah, you see throws like that, and you're like, okay, it's there. And then you see guys like on 3rd and 3 where there's an easy check down on a cross, and instead he's going for the deep bomb, and it's like, come on, man.
That was painful. And Herb Street illustrated that. Oh, boy, that was tough to watch. And then the end-of-game situation. I did not understand. And by the way, the toughness Justin Fields showed throughout that game, I mean, I was just waiting for him to be called.
There was like 5 hits where I'm like, is he going to get up? Because right at the end of the half, he was getting knocked down and just staying down for like seconds at a time.
Kaylee Hartung starts the third quarter sideline report, and she's like, yep, talk to Matt Eberflus. No treatment for Justin Fields at halftime. I'm like, wait, what? I'm shocked that he's, frankly, back out here. And then again, to end the game, Mark, I just felt like once they got into that goal-to-go situation, 2 things. One, I thought even without a timeout, I thought they could have ran one.
Yeah.
Like, with Montgomery, not even saying Fields, but more than anything, I felt like getting Fields on the perimeter, some read option, utilizing his legs. I didn't think they were going to score a normal touchdown. I felt like it had to be a little Houdini-like, a little off script. And, boy, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, it didn't help because you held Wentz. I mean, Wentz didn't even crack 100 yards passing.
Wentz is so bad.
And basically, I think Velus Jones botching that punt, you kind of gifted Washington the win there. Yeah. I mean, the Washington Commanders did nothing special that indicated that they were going to win that game on their own. So the Bears kind of gifted them that one. But then 3 trips inside the 5-yard line, you get 0 points. That's just unacceptable. One helmet tip that gets picked off, and then just a failed 4th and goal attempt, and all this other stuff. So typical Bears on prime time.
Carson Wentz, the Thursday night killer.
Your eyes will bleed again a week from Monday because they're on Monday Night Football with the Patriots. So enjoy that double dose of Bears in prime time. Why the NFL continues to do that, I don't know. So I'm sorry, America, but
and then
get used to it.
Next week we get Cardinals Saints.
Okay, there should be a lot of touchdowns scored in that one.
I would think a few more. Do we consider last night better than Colts Broncos?
I was trying to think about that because
less points, but you had 2 touchdowns.
There were 2 touchdowns, but less points scored, which kind of is crazy to think about. But
and you had a touchdown, and not to make light of the situation, but you had a touchdown by a guy who got shot a month and a half ago. I mean, that's a wild story. Brian Robinson being the starting running back last night for Washington, and that was the lone TD.
I feel like you had more flash plays in last night's game, like Justin Fields' couple of big runs. That big run by Khalil Herbert was nice.
Yeah.
So there were those. Both games, though, came down to the last play, if you want to play that devil's advocate.
Sure, right. If you're going to stay up, and the eyes will bleed until the wee hours of, I guess, early Friday morning. So 12-7 last night, Commanders over Marc's Bears.
I lost a lot of money
And if you are a Colts fan, I would say, boy, I know I texted you for same-game parlay. I was like, dude, I got to stay away from this.
Yeah, I wish I did.
It was just...
you asked for a parlay, and I gave it to you. I don't feel great about it. But
and I resisted the urge, so I'm very proud of myself on this Friday morning. Granted, if I just would have hammered the under 37 times, I could have made a good amount of money. We'll play some Ron Rivera audio coming up. Shocking, we've played Ron Rivera audio now twice this week, but he stormed off the post-game presser last night defending Carson Wentz. I'm kind of 2 ways with the Wentz thing, Mark. They win. You want them to stay somewhat close to relevant if you're a Colts fan, so you're happy about that. But Wentz looked to get banged up again throughout that game, holding the right hand, having it in the warmer a ton. We know about the right shoulder injury.
Then he got his ankle. He got his ankle wrapped too. Did you see it? They took a timeout, and they said during the timeout, and they showed Carson Wentz laying on the field, and they're taping his ankle
because that one.
He went to run, and when he went to plant, he put all his weight on his ankle, and it bent sideways. And so he's just
block on Roquan Smith. I'm like, I'm probably a little bit more in the, is this dude going to last 17 games injury-wise?
Yeah, he took a lot of beatings last night, too.
With him right now, so we can get into that. A massive one for the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday. I saw the line ticked back up to -2, and I think, Mark, that is due to the tone we had yesterday in the injury report is not as bad as it looks.
No, definitely cleared up since Wednesday.
Much better looking injury report yesterday. As we said on Thursday's show, Kwity Paye and Shaquille Leonard. Those are the two that I am ruling out here on this Friday morning. Nyheim Hines would be the other one, I think, to keep an eye on. Tyquan Lewis and him are both trying to progress through the concussion protocol. Tyquan Lewis was full yesterday. Nyheim Hines was limited. So I still think Hines is a little iffy. He's got more steps to clear in the concussion protocol for Sunday. Tyquan Lewis looks to be ahead of him. But Jonathan Taylor got back to practice in a limited fashion. Ryan Kelly back to practice in a limited fashion. Julian Blackmon was full. So again, outside of Paye and Leonard, I feel like the Colts could be pretty close to full health for Sunday.
That's what it looks like. And I mean, as long as you get Jonathan Taylor back, because the fact that Jonathan Taylor practiced even in a limited fashion, that's a positive step in the right direction, because if he can't go and Nyheim Hines is banged up, that's a questionable running back group you got going.
Deion Jackson, baby.
Yeah. And then Jaguars pretty healthy on their end. I mean, they had a couple guys that were
all
limited.
53 guys have practiced each of the last 2 days. For
they've got nothing standing out of any concern heading into Sunday. So Colts need to get right today. I guess we'll see what happens in the final practice session, and hopefully everybody's good to go. I
think as long as Taylor and Kelly came out of yesterday's practice without any setbacks, I would expect both those guys to play.
So Leonard and Pay are the only ones who are ruling out.
Leonard again, dealing with the broken nose, concussion in the back, and Kwity Paye. It looks like he's like rocking like a sleeve and kind of like one of those small brace cast things on his ankle. So I think it's still a bit of a week-to-week evaluation on that front. Did you say you watched Miracle earlier this week? Or
last weekend, yeah.
I almost feel like, and this is very anti-Frank Reich, I almost feel like that locker room is needing a Herb Brooks type of reaction to Sunday's outing.
Again.
Isn't like time is now, something like that?
Something like that.
Now, again, that's an underdog role. Obviously, the Colts are not an underdog. But when you look closer at these numbers, Mark, it is utterly embarrassing how the Colts have faced in the AFC South in the last 4 games. They've been a favorite in all 4 of them. They haven't won any of them. And now you have Jacksonville coming into your building. You know the last time, anybody want to guess the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars won a road AFC South game?
Boy.
I mean, the fact that I'm asking the question, you probably are going to infer that it's been a while.
Has it been more recent than the Colts winning a division game?
The Colts, if they lose on Sunday, that'll be 5 straight without a win in the division. That'd be the longest in franchise history. Anyone want to take a stab the last time the Jags left Nashville, Houston, or Indianapolis victorious?
Yeah, I don't know.
It wouldn't have been the last year when they were in Indianapolis, because aren't we, 0-8 in our last games against them?
This series is whoever plays at home.
Okay.
10 straight wins to the home team. Jacksonville has lost 9 straight to Houston. You've got to go back to December 2017.
Jeez.
For the last time Jacksonville won a road AFC South game. You cannot lose this. Cannot lose it.
I feel like we've been saying that.
I know, Mark, and I get it. The spreads too. But it is so pathetic how poorly the Colts continue to play in the division. Like, you and I are probably a little bit more than Jake on we pay attention to the Vegas lines. If you look at these matchups, you go back to last year when all of this started in the final game of the season. Favored by 15 points, lost by 15 to Jacksonville. Week 1 this year, favored by 7, tied with Houston. Week 2 in Jacksonville, favored by 3, lost by 24. And then 2 weeks ago with Tennessee, favored by 3.5, lost by 7. So if you added up like all of that, if you just said the Colts push in all those games, the actual result, based off what Vegas thought, Mark, is a negative 78 margin.
Oh my God.
78.5 if we want to get technical.
That's wild.
It's not like you're losing on a field goal.
Right.
It's not like you are an underdog in these games and you're losing these games. You are favored by sometimes a touchdown or more. And again, particularly in the Jacksonville matchups, you are getting dominated.
You're getting your doors blown off. It's like you in fantasy last week.
Oh, God. Let's not lead to Eddie calling in here early in this Friday morning. So that's, I don't know. Is that out of character for Frank Reich to go all... But at some point, you have just got to be so infuriated with how this division is. Look, we're going to have Joe Reitz on here at the bottom of the hour, and obviously a lot of offensive line talk with Joe. But, Mark, I think back to the Joe Reitz, when he played for the Colts, they won 16 straight AFC South games.
Yeah, it was never a question who the superior team in the AFC South was.
And now you're struggling to be competitive.
Yeah. You needed overcome a 17-point deficit just to tie the Texans to start the season. You've lost to the Jaguars. You got shut out in embarrassing fashion in week 2, and then you got housed in your home game against the Titans just a couple weeks earlier. Is it the Trevor Lawrence effect? Trevor Lawrence steps up when he plays the Colts. He's got no interceptions.
his 2 best completion percentage games of his career against Indianapolis. I think it's 2 of his top 3 passer rating games of his career against Indy. Now, granted, both of those have been in Jacksonville, so we'll see. Last year, he was not as efficient as he was here in Indy, but that opening drive on Sunday, to me, that's going to set the tone. Lawrence has settled in with perfect opening drives in each of the last 2 meetings. If the Colts continue to allow a lack of resistance with that, give him some confidence early, they're just asking for that recipe. So again, Joe Reitz at 7:30. Want to get his thoughts on this offensive line situation, what he would do. I think he's the perfect person to talk to on, what a guy like Matt Pryor is going through. His thoughts on Braden Smith moving to right guard, what he would do with Bernard Ryman.
I want to know his thoughts on Dennis Kelly.
Dennis Kelly as well.
What's going on there?
We'll throw a lot of that at Joe Reitz. Tonight, the Pacers preseason finale. Bennedict Mathurin is 2nd in the NBA in rookie scoring in the preseason. The Rockets have the first rookie. He was a guy that I was liking in this draft process, Tari Eason out of LSU. He was one of those guys that I felt like if the Pacers would have gotten that Cleveland pick, he would have been nice to.
He'd have been a nice comeback.
Try and nab in kind of that middle of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, So are you saying you would like to see them build on their performance earlier this week, put a nice stamp on the preseason, and then get ready for the regular season tip-off?
I believe, yes. Let's get, maybe if Bennedict Mathurin wants to do something again tonight, that we can start, putting together the arm on the statue or, his other leg on the statue. That would be well served. Something about Mathurin, Mark, that I did want to mention. We didn't really touch on it yesterday. He has not shot it well from the perimeter in the preseason. I want to say he's like 2 of 9. Not worried about that because this is a guy that was nearly 40% in the summer league from 3. He was nearly 40% at Arizona from 3. And I think if you talk to a lot of people, they look at, as long as your free throw shooting is at a pretty respectable level, they feel like that jump shot will be there over time. I think in the preseason, he's like 19 of 21 from the line. So I feel like the 3-point shot, which again, he hasn't really shot a ton of it in the preseason. When he has, I think it's like 25%. I do feel like that'll be there because that was probably more than the driving, to be honest with you. That was probably one of the more consistent things he showed in college or even in the summer league.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that heading in, preseason is preseason. We'll see what happens when the games start to count. I think he'll have maybe it's part of his game he doesn't think he needs to work on in the preseason. So he's like, if it's there, I'll take it. If it's not, no big deal. We'll hammer it out. So I would like to see more Bennedict Mathurin improvement. That would be great. I have a financial stake. Not to the degree that you do in the 30 games. But
did you rock the Rookie of the Year one?
Not yet, but okay. I think I'm going to before the odds drop again because apparently they're at plus 1,200. They've dropped after his performance earlier this week down to like 800. So those odds are dropping. So especially with Chet Holmgren out, I think you could pounce on some Bennedict Mathurin Rookie of the Year odds if you'd like to before they start dipping.
I feel bad for my Mariners.
Do you? Jordan Alvarez did it again to you?
I feel like...
I told you that they're a year or two away.
I feel like what Jordan Alvarez is doing to Houston is what T.Y. Hilton did to Houston.
That's a good comp, I'd say.
Maybe even just on a greater scale, I guess. Hilton did it in one playoff game down there.
Jordan Alvarez, the Astros' season. Answer to T.Y. Hilton.
Yes, right? If you look at the Wikipedia, does it say Alvarez has a minority stake in the Mariners right now?
He might.
Should they? I'm like, should they have pitched to him there? 2 outs. Castillo's pitching really well. I've got a soft spot for Luis Castillo being a former Red, and boy, that 98-mile-per-hour fastball, and Alvarez takes it the other way. He is, he's quite the talent.
He's really good. He's on a Houston team that's got a lot of talent, and yeah, it looks like they're going to be, barring a miraculous comeback by the Mariners, it looks like the Astros are going to be punching their ticket to the next round.
I am looking forward to that environment. That'll be Saturday, Game 3 in Seattle. It's been quite some time since Seattle's hosted a playoff game. Granted, down 0-2 does not have the same feel. Today's Major League slate, we'll get the makeup game from Yankees-Guardians. First pitch for that one is 1:07. Mother Nature pushed that. So that means no off day in that series now. It'll shift right to Cleveland for Game 3 on Saturday with that one. Braves and Phillies tied at 1. That is 4:37, the first pitch there. Charlie Morton versus Aaron Nola. And then tonight at 8:37, it'll be the Dodgers and Padres from San Diego.
I'm still pulling for the Padres. I think I picked the Dodgers to win, but I would like to see the Padres pull the upset. I don't think it's going to happen, but I have a soft spot for the Padres.
Isn't it weird considering like the Padres payroll and the move they made that like there is a bit of an underdog feel to them?
Yeah, because you're always like, wait, the Padres spent how much on these guys? That's crazy. Like you don't think about the Padres as a big market team, but I mean they're in California. They're playing like a big market team, but you see them. The Dodgers are just an all-star team at every position. So I would like to see Blake Snell get the job done tonight. We'll see what he does, but go Padres. But I feel like the Dodgers are going to get the better of them.
It's our usual Friday lineup outside of Joe Reitz. Greg Rakestraw at 8 o'clock. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts at 9. Mark, you and I were briefly talking about this before the show, but you look at the next 2 weeks for the Colts. You host Jacksonville, and you're at Tennessee. You've lost to both of these teams already this year. If you look at the division record for the Colts right now, 0-2-1. One time in the history of the AFC South, which is, I think we're about 20 years into the AFC South history, has a team won the division with less than 4 AFC South wins. You play 6 AFC South games. Obviously, right now, the Colts can win 3 is the max.
Right.
With already dropping 2 and then tying their other AFC South game. It almost has the feel to me of like, you win both of these, I'd put your playoff chances like 60 to 70%. You split, it's probably a little less than a coin flip. You lose both, start looking at your 2023 mock drafts.
So you're ruling them completely out. See, that's the only thing is the AFC South is so poor that I feel like even if they lose both, they're still not out of it. Yes, you've made it really hard on yourself to win the division at that point, but you're not out of it completely.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put the percentages if you lose both like at 20%.
Right.
But at that point, you would have lost. You've been swept by Jacksonville and Tennessee. So if they ever get into a tie situation this year and then your records align and you have that head-to-head tiebreaker, you wouldn't have it. Tennessee's on a bye this week.
Right.
So you have this little house money game, if you want to look at it like that, of if you win, you obviously would gain a half game on the Titans. If you lose, you would lose a half game.
If you lose both games, you're asking an imperfect team to play pretty much perfect football the rest of the season.
Very well said. Very well said.
Can't have any more slow starts.
The margin for error is gone.
Yeah.
And again, so many people have brought up like, is this like 2018 when you started 1-5? Is this like last season when you started 1-4? I can't go there because last year even you had a stretch where it was like, oh my gosh, you're up 3 scores on the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football and you just blew it.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that yet. Out of the 20 quarters of football you've played this year, I would say you've been the better team than your opponent. Maybe 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. Has there been any game that you've actually felt comfortable with the Colts holding a lead? No.
Comfort and Colts don't go hand in hand. No, not at all. Not at all. Again, Sam Fritz, Marc Dykton, myself, Kevin Bowen, Jake Query is out today. He will be back on Monday. Joe Reitz is going to join us at 7:30. Greg Rakestraw at 8. Matt Taylor at 9 o'clock. And per usual, we'll give our Friday picks to round out the show. Nice start to this Friday morning here in Indy. Kevin and Query, 93.5 on 107.5, The Fan.
Halliburton drives to his right and buries a 3.
The new-look Indiana Pacers are in action.
Spins away from top and gets into the lane.
And the goal isn't all about wins.
There are going to be some highs and some lows.
It's all about growing the next crop of stars.
Mathurin continues to impress.
This group will be worth the wait.
Beautiful play, Halliburton.
I thought last night he looked pretty damn good.
I've been very impressed by Bennedict Mathurin.
Mathurin down the right side.
All season on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Tired of your old car? Come into Auto Sales and Service and try one of theirs. Bad credit? No worries. Everyone gets approved. Visit their 2 locations, Auto Sales and Service.
It's JMV for the 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. There's one near you. You can check out the full-service auto repair specialist and, of course, the JMV specials. Online now, CarX.com.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries. We also have battery solutions for many hybrid and electric vehicles. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Colts fans, now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Right now, get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code MARK. FanDuel is all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. You can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay, which is one of my favorite things on the app. They also have live betting, so you get updated odds on games that have already started. When you win, you get paid quickly, all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use, and they have everyday odds, boosts, and specials. They had some for the Thursday night game last night. They have some for the MLB postseason. They've even got a great one for the NBA, where if you put down $5 on any money line on any game, now through the end of January, you get a 3-month free trial of NBA League Pass. That is awesome. So get it started on FanDuel today. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, as long as you sign up with promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, and make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Indianapolis Colts. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
In the construction business and can't find what you need? Quality Supply and Tool has served Hoosiers for over a quarter of a century. Tom Hawk is the branch manager of the Indy location on South Harding Street.
We've always been big on keeping our shelves fully stocked of inventory of industrial-grade tools, concrete, masonry products, as well as the necessary accessories to help get the job done. You don't have it, you can't sell it. Our experience allows us to help with getting the pros as well as the weekend pro taken care of.
Quality Supply and Tool also has locations in Bloomington and Jeffersonville to help you think outside the box. Store.
Shop every team in town, college and pro. Come on, it's time to go.
Get ready for kickoff, Indy. Rally House has the game day gear you're looking for, including Colts sideline gear and the latest college styles.
Pacers, Colts, Indiana Hoosiers, Boilermakers, Bulldogs, Fighting Irish. Rally House. It's your city, it's your house. It's a Rally House.
Gear up in-store and online at rallyhouse.com.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Introducing Spectrum One. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second, advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Guys, listen up. If you're suffering from hair loss, then you got to check out Bosley. Bosley offers the most advanced technology to restore your hair. All it takes is a simple one-day procedure to get your hair back. Plus, Bosley can help you keep the hair you have and grow more hair where you need it most. There is no comparison when it comes to hair restoration. Bosley is literally America's most experienced hair restoration experts. And believe me, you want to go to the experts. The doctors at Bosley have done the most procedures using the latest technology, and experience matters. Best of all, Bosley's permanent solution is backed by Bosley's guarantee. It's a no-brainer. When it comes to restoring your hair, you want to go with the name America trusts. That's Bosley. Check them out today. Get a free information kit and gift card for $250 off when you text WIN to 203-203. That's WIN to 203-203. Don't wait. Take action now and get your hair back. Text WIN to 203-203.
The Colts VIP Tailgate is all you can eat in an open bar for 3 hours before kickoff for all Colts home games by Bullseye Event Group. The Colts VIP Tailgate is the official tailgate for Colts fans on game days. Located at the Bullseye Event Center directly across the street from Lucas Oil Stadium. Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com for Colts VIP Tailgates, all-you-can-eat food by Food Network chef Aaron May. Bullseye Event Group offers indoor and outdoor climate-controlled lounge seating for a VIP tailgate experience. All ages welcome. Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com for tickets today.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Ball State Football. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Get a much better injury report for the Colts on Thursday. Kwity Paye and Shaquille Leonard, those were the two that did not practice. Jonathan Taylor did return to practice. Here was the third-year running back on his ankle injury status heading into Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to go in there after and just devise the plan, man. You got to be really methodical. These things are nothing to play with. You got to really be smart, but you also have to really plan it out throughout the entire week so that Sunday you're able to go out there and ball with the bros.
Mark, I assume as long as he reacted well to yesterday's practice, he'll go again today, and then he'll go on Sunday. And if you look back at week 2, without Michael Pittman, without Alec Pierce, Jacksonville totally stuffed the box. Jonathan Taylor had only 9 carries in that game.
Yeah, that has to change, especially against the Jaguars, who put a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan last time. And injury report looks like a pretty clean bill of health. Shaquille Leonard and Kwity Paye, the only two not to participate in Thursday's practice. We'll see what happens on Friday.
All right, last night, just one playoff game. It was the Astros going up 2-0. They win 4-2. Yordan Alvarez does it again. A little bit earlier in the game, 6th inning, a 2-run homer with 2 outs to take the lead in that one off of Luis Castillo. So again, the Astros up 2-0. Today, it'll be the other 3 divisional series, Yankees and Guardians at 1:07. And then the 4:37 game, Braves and Phillies, and at 8:37, Dodgers and Padres.
Pacers put a bow on the preseason tonight when they take on the Houston Rockets. That game can be heard right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan starting at 6:30. We'll see if Bennedict, Mathurin, and the boys can build off of their last game's success, and then they'll get ready for the regular season next week. So putting a bow on the preseason, Pacers Rockets tonight.
It still is amazing every time they play the Rockets. I'm like, why is Eric Gordon still on the Rockets?
Yeah.
Year 15. I feel like they're just tanking like none other. Shouldn't Eric Gordon be on a contending team?
Yeah, and did you hear about former teammate of Eric Gordon? Did you hear what Victor Oladipo had to say?
Yeah, that was those were some interesting comments.
He's obsessed with bringing up the Pacers constantly. It's kind of ridiculous.
I'm kind of tired of just rehashing that topic, frankly. College football this weekend. Some interesting spreads, I think, in the state of Indiana. Indiana, a double-digit home underdog to Maryland. That is quite humbling. That'll be a 3:30 kick on Saturday. Purdue is hosting Nebraska. Purdue is nearly a 2-touchdown favorite over a Nebraska team that is 2-1 in the Big Ten, and in the Big Ten West right now. Pretty even across the board. I still think Purdue's the favorite, but those will be a couple of interesting in-state games to watch from a Vegas standpoint. And really a nice slate of college football this weekend. You've got Michigan and Penn State at noon. And Mark, I'd say the big one is Alabama at Tennessee.
Without question.
Peyton Manning, guest picker?
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be in attendance.
I saw that, yeah. I think they announced that yesterday. Peyton Manning, the guest picker there for College Game Day.
Is that another part of the McAfee megacast or whatever they call it?
I would like to think Alabama, Tennessee would have enough clout that Peyton would go there anyways, but with Pat being on College Game Day and like you said, the Manning cast, that probably plays into it. Speaking of Pat McAfee, speaking of Peyton Manning, a former Colt and a former teammate of both of them, Joe Reitz, he's going to join us next here on Kevin and Corey.
Michigan hosts Penn State on American Standards College Football Saturday. The coverage begins at 11:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com. Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models not transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
A new season, a new QB, a new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Mondays. Join JMV Mondays at Buffalo Wild Wings for ice-cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games. This week, stop by and see JMV at Buffalo Wild Wings in Carmel. JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe. Bud Light Blue Mondays.
Terry Stacy with your American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning game day weather, brought to you by Family Heating and Air. Nobody cares for you like family. Tonight is the final week of high school regular season football. 61 and partly cloudy at kickoff. A great night for a game. Saturday, UConn visits Ball State in Muncie at 2 p.m. 61 and sunny. Maryland comes to Bloomington to face the Hoosiers, who are looking to get back in the win column at 3:30. 64 and partly cloudy. Two winning streaks collide in West Lafayette when Nebraska travels to Purdue Saturday night, mid-40s and clear. And yet another game in Indiana when Stanford travels to Notre Dame Saturday night, mid-40s and clear. Our boys in blue look for revenge on Jacksonville Sunday at 1 p.m. in downtown Indy. Partly cloudy and 64. The roof might be open. Great weather for fall football this weekend. Your game day weather brought to you by Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I always enjoy telling our customers about our jewelry and how special it is. Like our cultured pearls. And right now, pearls are more popular than ever. Pearl strands, drop earrings, pearl rings, worn stacked and layered, everyone's wearing them. Did you know that a pearl takes 2 to 3 years to form inside a mollusk? It takes on the color of the nacre, the interior of the shell. So a lavender nacre will produce a lavender pearl. At Shane Company, our pearls are known for their beautiful luster. They're in their natural colors and never dyed. We source them directly from pearl farmers around the world. And we string our pearl strands with an individual knot between each pearl for extra security. Visit us today or chat with us online. We don't work on commission, so you'll never feel rushed or pressured. Whether you come in for a new on-trend pearl necklace or a diamond engagement ring, we'll educate you about our jewelry, so you'll leave feeling like an expert.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
The new Google Pixel 7 Pro is super, especially when it's on Verizon, the network America relies on. It's supercharged, super powered, and a super...
deal.
You know it. Now, switch to Verizon and get the Google Pixel 7 Pro on us with select trade-ins and select 5G unlimited plans.
That really is super.
Yep. There's never been a better time to switch to Verizon. $899.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line on select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with ported. Less $700 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a 2-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours, especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
Get what you want and pay over time when you use your Lowe's Advantage Card. Now through October 26, 2022. Ask for 0% APR with 36 fixed monthly payments on a product installation or appliance purchase of $1,000 or more. Shop for the appliances you want in-store or online. Or go to the store nearest you for installation. Now at Lowe's. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store Lowe's.com for details. U.S. only.
What's happening on West 56th? Presented by Shelby Materials, the concrete and aggregate experts. We'll find out in 30 seconds.
Do you want to work for a company who has your back? You can count on Shelby Materials. Shelby Materials has 10 ready-mix locations in central Indiana and is looking for Class B CDL drivers. Highlights include being home every night and every other weekend off during peak season. Shelby Materials stands behind its work, products, and people. We support our employees with competitive wages and benefits, including 401k, PTO, paid holidays, HSA, and a sign-on bonus. Learn more about your next opportunity by visiting shelbymaterials.com.
Now, what's happening on West 56th? Brought to you by Shelby Materials, the concrete and aggregate experts.
You know, I mean this with all seriousness. Our next guest, frankly, is one of the greatest athletes this state has ever produced. And most people will recall, you know, his football career with the Colts, his basketball career at Hamilton Southeastern and Western Michigan, and certainly could have had a professional career off of that. But earlier this week, I was graciously invited by Joe Reitz to participate in a golf outing, and I watched Marc Dykton, Joe Reitz, take out his putter some 50 feet off the green, whack this gold putter that I'm not sure he could get for about $7 at a local garage sale, and knock that ball in the hole that ended up being the winning putt for us in said golf outing. And of all the great athletic achievements for Joe Reitz, I'm going to guess that one maybe ranks above the rest. We'll confirm that with him right now. Joe, good morning, and congrats again on adding another highlight to an incredible athletic career.
Wow, what an intro. Good morning, gentlemen. And I agree. To quote Happy Gilmore, some I'd like to call luck and some I'd like to call, well, luck, I guess. But, yeah, that was a clutch performance. It was a great job by the team. We kind of had that law of the jungle mentality, right? The strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. And I feel like, you know, the four of us together had some great synergy, and that was awful fun there with Ryan Davis, AD at Guerin Catholic, and Brian Shelbourne.
Boy, I just got chills hearing that quote. That sounds like a high school weight room quote.
Well, I want to know more about...
It's Friday morning. In the fall, what could be better? You got high school football tonight, CYO football in the morning, great college football slate, and then you got the Colts Jags, the cherry on top, 1 o'clock on Sunday.
I want to know more about this gold putter. So is it like a Happy Gilmore thing where he's got the gold like hockey stick as the putter, or is it just, what's it look like?
You call it Goldfinger, right, Joe?
Yeah, my brother won it in 2009 at a HSE, you know, sports golf outing. It says Don Hines Ford on it. They donated it solid gold, and then he gave it to me. I've been playing with it ever since, and I was actually thinking about retiring it because it's old and a little bit weary, taking it out to pasture. But after that putt, we got another 10, 15 years with that thing.
Yeah, I think the Indiana Golf Hall of Fame actually is going to call you and see if they can get that right in the lobby. The great Joe Reitz with us here. Obviously, Colts pregame show this Sunday, and you'll hear him as you do every Monday right here on Colts Roundtable Live. And the father of quite a few children, Joe Reitz, is with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Joe, obviously the offensive line, a huge topic leading into Week 6. I want to first ask you about Matt Pryor and what maybe he went through in transitioning from right tackle to left tackle this offseason, what he went through last Thursday in having to make that switch then from left to right without any practice. Can you kind of share, like, what was that like for you? What do you think that's like for him, having to make these changes, whether it be from one tackle to the other, guard to tackle, those sorts of things?
Yeah, and that's awful tough for him. I mean, I think going in, you know, the Colts kind of gave him the job. It was his to lose through training camp, and, you know, thought he had a good training camp, but when we got in game situations, just was a little bit different. You know, didn't perform the first 5 weeks, so then you kick him over to right tackle, and he struggled against Denver, and I just think, you know, that's awful tough for him. You know, I certainly don't want to speak for Matt, but, you know, confidence-wise, that's got to be hard. And I think, again, the Colts are trying to figure out their best combination of linemen. I mean, in my opinion, I kind of like the Ryman at left tackle. I think they're right, and I think they should stick with him. I think he's got a ton of upside. He'll get better. He wasn't as bad as some people thought against Denver. A couple of those penalties, that's just he's got to learn how to play and learn how, hey, this is what the refs are seeing. This is where you got to put your hands. This is where you might have to let go a half second sooner so don't get called for that. But Ryman there, Nelson, Kelly, I kind of like Will Fries at right guard and then Smith at right tackle. To me, I'll be interested to see the line that they do. Obviously Dennis Kelly is somebody they signed, hasn't played yet. And then Ty Nishke we signed. If you guys are ready, I have a Ty Nishke story for the ages from 2012 Anderson training camp.
I couldn't believe he was still playing when I saw that signing.
I agree. I had no idea. I read it. I instantly called Costanzo. We talked. The first thing he brought up was Ty Nishke signs in 2012 training camp. Again, he came from the Arena League. Nobody had really heard of him. And now we're in one-on-ones, right? So one-on-one O-line, D-line pass rush. It's a flagship drill. We as offensive linemen think it's a bias drill, which it is. Because think, the defense, they can go outside, inside, straight through you, but there's no other four linemen. There's no play action they have to worry about, right? So inherently it's tougher for offensive linemen. So I always struggled in one-on-ones. I'd always get beat, and I'd be like, man, these guys are going to watch the film, and they're going to kick me to the curb because I could never beat anybody in one-on-ones. But I was pretty good in team because, you know the plays and what's going on, and you have run action, play action, et cetera. So we go there. Ty Nishke rolls out first practice, and Dwight Freeney's lined up against him. And one of the coaches is like, no, get somebody else in against Dwight. And Ty's like, no, I'm ready to go. And, Dwight, I'm sure, is thinking, hey, here's this young guy, this rook. I'm going to give him my welcome to the NFL moment.
I'm going to throw him to the Anderson Casino.
Yeah, exactly. Ball is snapped. All of a sudden, Ty Nishke, boom, long arms, hands on him, stonewalls Dwight Freeney. And everybody's kind of like, woo! And all of a sudden, they're like, all right, run it back. Boom, stonewalls Freeney again. And so my first thought is like, oh my gosh, this guy's way better than me. I'm definitely getting cut. And then I'm talking to Costanzo that night, and Costanzo's like, did you see Ty? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm definitely getting cut. He's way better than me. I'm like, what? Hey, AC, if you're getting cut, then I'm definitely getting cut. And anyway, Ty, it was his first time, and we let him go at the end of camp. And obviously it's tough mid-camp because, you're learning the playbook, et cetera, and that's hard. But he clearly has stuck around and had a really nice career. And so we'll see how long does it take him to get up to speed, play, et cetera. But, obviously that's another signing. And back to the whole picture, I know the team's trying to figure out that line. Believe me, I've been in the locker room when stuff like that's happening. It's not fun, but guess what? Just like, confidence and struggles can magnify, so can success. And you have one or two good games, things get rolling, they get united with Matt Ryan. And to me, it's not just the offensive line, right? It's the running backs. It's the loss of Jack Doyle, which has really hurt us in the run game. It's a new quarterback figuring out Frank's system. It's play calling, it's scheme, it's everything rolled into one. But bottom line, if you're the Colts and you're this offensive line, you have a great chance. I mean, a great opportunity over the next 3 weeks to really turn yourself in from a team that's kind of middle of the road right now into a true contender. And it starts one day against, 1 o'clock Sunday against the Jags.
And just to sneak in, the Freeney Stonewall, Ty Nishke, he is on the practice squad right now. So we'll see if he gets involved at all moving forward.
Joe, the Colts offensive line is obviously struggling in both the pass and the running game. What is the biggest factor of why a veteran group is not getting the push up front that they have in the past?
I think it's one, guys, when they're individual battles, which we haven't done as well as they have in years past. I think two, and I've been saying this since the preseason, the loss of Jack Doyle is huge because he was such a unique tight end. He could block inline on the line of scrimmage. He could wham those defensive tackles. If you're, running some sort of trap scheme, he could lead up on a linebacker and really block them at the point of attack. And without kind of that lead guy, what teams are doing, they're just putting linebackers in the box and they're starting to just run them through quicker and quicker, and that really hurts the zone running scheme. So coming off the Thursday night game, an extra 3 days to prepare, I'm really going to be interested to see scheme-wise if we do some things differently, because usually when you have that Thursday night game, the coaches get 3 or 4 extra days to kind of self-scout, if that makes sense. What have we done through the first 5 games? What's the other team thinking when we roll out there? What can we do differently? So to me, those have been the two things, and hopefully you get a healthy Jonathan Taylor back, and you really get that run game piping coming up here Sunday.
The great Joe Reitz, he's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Joe, I thought Frank Reich's explanation for moving Braden Smith to right guard last Thursday night was interesting. Basically, Reich said that they wanted to firm up the center of the pocket, and they wanted to improve their interior run game. You think any part of that is maybe catering to your quarterback in that situation, and that Matt Ryan has expressed hey, I feel like the interior pocket has been an issue for me. I'd rather have that be a little bit more set than necessarily out at right tackle. And I guess, what did you make of Reich's explanation on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong by any means. The middle three guys in the pass game are always responsible for the depth of the pocket, meaning they got to keep those guys close to the line of scrimmage if they can, so the quarterback has room to step up. And then the tackles are responsible for the width of the pocket and keeping the pocket wide and so it doesn't collapse. And so I think there's been more pressure this year than in years past through the middle. It's one-on-one battles. A lot of it is teams are blitzing more. Again, when you put on tape that you're struggling picking up things in pass protection, it's a copycat league, and teams continue to do it. And what teams are doing is they're getting 5-on-5 matchups. And so teams are saying, we're going to rush 5 guys. We're going to force you scheme-wise in to get 5 one-on-ones, and then we're going to have one less guy in coverage, and we're going to kind of dare you to beat us in the pass game. And Jacksonville really started that week 2 when we had a couple of our receivers out, right, playing our guys tighter. But I think with the emergence of Pierce, I think with the emergence of Woods, Pittman still has got to get going, and I think he will. But I think with those guys and making some plays down the field, teams aren't going to be able to do that as much as maybe they were doing early on the season. And so, but going back to your question about solidifying the inside of the pocket, I don't think it's wrong by any means. But I will be interested to see what do they have the same lineup? Do they change it up? You've had 10 days. But let's hope we're talking about a good offensive line performance come Monday and something that, has been a position of strength on this team and, flip it back to that.
Joe, you've been in the trenches. You've seen it all. In your opinion, what's the most fixable thing on the offensive line where you've seen issues through 5 games? And what's something that doesn't look like it'll get solved until the offseason?
Yeah, I don't know that I could really it's a tough question. In terms of fixable, to me, the more that you have 5 guys and you say this is our lineup and roll, and that's better. The more guys play together is good. The more they communicate better is good. And then also with the quarterback, too. You've now had 5 games to figure out your quarterback. And, with 6 straight new quarterbacks or whatever it is, that's just tough because each quarterback has different nuances. They have different ways that they slide left or right in the pocket, step up, whether they hold on to the ball, whether they don't, whether they escape and scramble. And those guys just have to get used to each other. You've got to give it time. I do think that's what's exciting, though, because the talent is there and for the whole offense. And the ceiling is high. When you think about the Colts offense, 32 in points, and when you think about our turnovers, we're -6 on the year. We're 31st in the league. If you had told me those 2 stats through 5 games, I'd be like, man, what do we have, 1 win? But we're 2-2-1, right? And you got the Jags at home, which you have to beat. Then you go to Tennessee, and then you got Washington at home, and we're not losing to the Commanders at home. If anybody watched that game last night, I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen. So realistically, that's what excites me about this team still, is that the offense has been the weak link so far. The defense has played great. The special teams has played great. They played winning football. But I do think you got the pieces on this offense to get it going, and that's what excites me about the Colts, that I think their potential is really high. But again, I can't underestimate, as a fan, as a former player, anything, how big these next 2 weeks are. I mean, to me, this really is the Colts season coming up Sunday and coming up next Sunday in Tennessee.
Joe, I want to expand on that to close things out. The time is now, and I don't know, maybe I'm thinking back to when you played and you guys just dominated the division. And here you are, if you lose Sunday, it's the longest drought in the division without a win for the Colts in franchise history. And it's not like you've lost these games on last-second field goals. You've been down at least 3 scores in your last 4 AFC South games. Do you have a feel of like a little bit more of a time is now, I don't know, Herb Brooks sense of urgency that is an absolute must, especially considering this team has really bullied you in each of the last 2 matchups?
No doubt. I mean, the urgency for this game, it is, in my opinion, it's must win. It's playoff type urgency. Because think about it. To your good point, Kevin, I think I read something that you might have put out that no team has won the South with less than 4 division wins, right? And so, the Colts, the best they can get to is 3-2-1, and it's really hard to get swept by a division opponent and then still win the division. It's happened, but it's really rare. And so then you throw in the fact that you're playing a Jags team that historically, you've had success against, obviously not down there the last 7 or 8 years. We know that's well documented. But the last 2 times, Coach Venturi and I were talking on the Monday Night Roundtable. If you're Frank, you need to do anything more than put up 26-11 on the screen and 24-0 and walk out of the room. The guys know what's at stake. The guys know that, it's just flat out straight embarrassing the last 2 performances down there. And I expect, people to come out Sunday with their hair on fire, kind of like we did against the Chiefs, when your backs were against the wall, and go out and just compete really hard every snap and dominate the game. I know Jacksonville. I know Trevor Lawrence has had success against these comfortable, but I see the Colts win this game by a touchdown or more. I really do. And I think that gives them a lot of confidence going down to Tennessee. And I know Tennessee's coming off a bye. And historically, is it good to come off a bye with an extra week of prep? I would say yes. But early in the season, when you're not that beat up, and Tennessee has won 3 in a row, and I kind of like that they have that bye, right? Because this momentum that they've been building kind of stops, and guys go away and get to sunny Florida, and you can kind of lose a little bit of that momentum. So I really do think it's an advantageous position the Colts are in. And again, 9 days from now, we're going to know. But these 2 games, again, to me, this really is the season coming up.
If the Colts can tap into an ounce of the clutch factor that the Goldfinger via Joe Reitz had earlier this week, that would go a long way in getting things back on track. Joe, we'll be tuning in Sunday morning and again on Monday. As always, man, enjoy your insight and had a blast earlier this week.
10 o'clock, touchdown town. We got a special guest that will be live. I can't tell you who it is, but Bill Brooks, Jeffrey, the Gore Man, myself, and JMV, we're going to be juiced up here come Sunday. So if you're a Colts fan, going to be a beautiful day. Get to touchdown town. They got those cheap Bud Lights fired up, and let's get loud Sunday at 1 o'clock, and let's make this crowd a factor in terms of Rattle and Trevor Lawrence. We need him to have an off game.
Joe, have a great one, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Joe Reitz right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. When we come back, Greg Rakestraw joins us, talk a little bit of everything, not just Colts, a little high school football and college as well. Greg Rakestraw's next.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Mike Tirico.
I think because of NIL, the super teams have become even more super. And I don't necessarily know if that's the best for the long-term growth of the sport. What do Indiana, Purdue, what do any of us as football fans have to look forward to except an 8-win season and go into a nice bowl, maybe borderline fringe a shot at the playoffs? Long-term, it's bad for the sport.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Wendy's new homestyle French toast sticks are so good, some are saying they're better than their mom's. Perfectly crispy, perfectly golden brown. Try Wendy's new homestyle French toast sticks today and see if they're better than your mom's.
It's the Colts VIP Tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Don't forget the adults this Halloween with trick-or-treat bags for Payless Liquors. Choose from Fireball or 99 brands. They're only $13.49. Payless has Love Bite wine from Easley Winery for only $9.99, and Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc is $12.99. Plus 175s of Old Forester 86 is $31.99, and all 26 Payless liquor stores have Old Smoky Pumpkin Spice in stock. And be sure to scan the QR codes in stores to register for Bud Light Fan Zone tickets or a great tailgate package from Bullseye Event Group and Jameson Irish Whiskey. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Thad Matta is back as Butler University's men's basketball coach, and single-game tickets for Hinkle Fieldhouse this season are on sale now. Matta has reshaped the team's roster and recommitted these Bulldogs to the Butler way. The Dogs are pushing to sell out Thad's first game November 7th versus New Orleans and need you there. 4-game packages are also available starting at just $65. Visit butlersports.com/buy tickets to get your seats. Be part of Coach Matta's return. Get to Hinkle this season.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Attention BetMGM customers. Have a friend who loves sports as much as you do? Here's a chance for both of you to earn a $50 bonus when they sign up through BetMGM's Refer a Friend program. Just sign into your BetMGM account and click on the Refer a Friend program to send your friend a message inviting them to register a new account in the same state you use BetMGM in. Once your friend signs up and makes a deposit, they'll receive a $50 bonus. And once your friend places a bet with their bonus and the wager is settled, you'll receive a $50 bonus as well. Share the excitement and get a $50 bonus every time you refer a friend to BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable site credit. Site credit expires in 30 days. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
In the construction business and tired of dealing with the indifference of big corporate suppliers, Quality Supply and Tool on South Harding Street understands. For over 25 years, owner Kevin Ane has had a different approach.
We at Quality Supply and Tool take pride in being a locally owned family business, committed to service. And every customer's needs are different, and we truly believe in shaping our business to our customers' needs. That's what separates us from the competition.
That's Quality Supply and Tool with additional locations in Bloomington and Jeffersonville to serve Hoosiers better. Partner with Quality Supply and Tool and think outside the box. Store.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Take the next step in your construction career by becoming a union carpenter.
Some of the best pay in the industry.
Amazing health and retirement benefits.
Ongoing cutting-edge training.
Creating my own career path so I can do what I love.
High safety standards.
Great employment opportunities. Why will you join the Carpenters Union? Join the 75,000 men and women in Indiana who build our communities. For more information, visit the Construction Industry Partnership at indianacip.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Colts return home to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coverage begins Sunday morning at 9 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Fired up after that Joe Reitz energy. With us there, that'll be up on the podcast. Again, myself, Kevin Bowe, and Marc Dykton on this Friday morning. Sam Fritz on the ones and twos with Jake out. He'll be back on Monday. We do want to get to some high school football chatter with Greg Rakestraw. Sectional draw took place this past Sunday, and really some big matchups in the final week of the regular season. But let's begin with the Colts. Rake, I'm under the impression if Jonathan Taylor gives it a go today again in practice, that he will play on Sunday. Your thoughts there?
That has always been my thought as well. And frankly, I thought that there was a chance if that last week was a Sunday game, he would have played in that too. So of all the guys that missed last week, I thought he had the best chance of playing. Other guy I think that will play, although because the guy that's filled in for him, has played well, there doesn't seem to be this pressing need. I think we'll see Julian Blackman back out there Sunday too.
Yeah, now you bring that up, I'm curious how they, do they just give Blackman his normal 100% reps? Yeah, I'm interested to see how they do that, because I do think Rodney Thomas, I like Blackman a lot, but Rodney Thomas has played pretty good football.
He has, and so my guess is you're going to see a little bit of both those guys, to be honest with you, not just to ease Blackman back into it, but because Thomas has played well, and for as good of a player as I think Julian Blackman is, let's face it, he has shown to be injury-prone, And so having a guy like Thomas available and ready is certainly a good way to go.
Rake, Colts haven't won a division game since December 5th, 2021. Why have they struggled so mightily in this division?
That is the $64 million question, because clearly the division's not very good, yet the Colts are 0-2-1. I think they are petitioning the NFL for a move to the AFC West. And if they're not, let me suggest that. Again, it's the same reason they have struggled just overall. It's line play, it's quarterback play, it's not making enough big defensive plays. It just happens to be that, and maybe we should chalk it up to this. This team is notorious for getting off to a slow start to the season. Well, maybe that's not a good thing. Then you play 5 of your 7, first games are going to be against divisional foes. But there is no rhyme or reason to explain that, Mark.
Courtesy of the ISC Sports Network, the great Greg Rakestraw is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Obviously, you can hear Rake Colts postgame show coming up on Sunday. Right side of that offensive line, Rake, I think we know Bernard Ryman at left tackle, Quentin Nelson at left guard, if healthy, and Ryan Kelly got back to practice yesterday. Frank Reich said they'll stick with Ryan Kelly at center. Part of me thinks this, Rake, and I know to some fans and even to me, I'm like, would they really do that? If you're going to make such a wild, drastic change to the O-line on a short week without practice, aren't you saying to your staff, we need to ride this out for a couple of weeks to build chemistry and give them actual practice time? Basically,
I understand if you have the same 5 guys as you did last Thursday, just to say, okay, let's see what you do with a full week of practice instead of having a couple of walkthroughs. So I understand why fans have seen enough of Matt Pryor or other members of the Colts offensive line. I get that, but I also understand the logic in terms of, all right, we put you guys together in a short week, gave you 2 walkthroughs, and said, hey, go get them. Now let's give you a full week of practice and see what happens. So I'm not going to be throwing stuff out of the press box windows if it's the same 5 that get the start on Sunday afternoon.
Boy, part of me, I hope everything's okay, but part of me would love to see security have to corral you throwing stuff out of the press box on Sunday afternoon. That'd be quite the sight to see.
I'm not the guy that makes a lot of noise in the press box. You know who that is, and you shouldn't answer who that is. But
Greg,
I'm not the guy that's the rabble-rouser in that end of the press box.
Kevin just wants the distraction so he can stuff bacon in his pockets before.
Well, now they've gone to this turkey bacon.
Oh,
and
no.
Selfishly, I just can't get behind it. I hope Rake will back me on that.
I will say this. The press and things that people really don't care about, but I'll bring it up anyway. The press box food normally at Lucas Oil has been reminiscent of the Colts offensive line play so far.
Well said. Well said.
Not amongst the best in the league. Although after all these years, I don't have the expectation for said food that I had for the offensive line coming into the season. That would indicate some history of top level performance that simply hasn't existed.
Rake, Mark and I.
2 weeks ago, there was an omelet station.
There was.
So
yeah.
We're making small incremental progress here. So let's hope for, if we can just get 1% better again on Sunday, then maybe we'll see this as more than just a happenstance. Maybe it's actually a trend.
You're hoping not to use the Pepto-Bismol is what you're saying.
There are things that literally, Mark, that I'll see people like there for the first time, like, hey, don't get that. Just don't do it. Just go in a different direction. Your digestive system will thank me from years of experience.
Rake, Mark and I were talking earlier about these 2 games right here for the Colts. At home, Sunday against Jacksonville, at Tennessee. Obviously, you're trying to avoid season sweeps with both of those teams. How do you view what 2-0 would mean, what 1-1 would mean, and what 0-2 would mean in these next 2 games for the rest of the season?
1-1 means you're kind of in the same boat that you are now, where you're not playing well, but you're still in it. 2-0 means you have control of the division, which is crazy to think about. 0-2 means is that all hell is breaking loose. As simple as that. Because if you get through these next 2 games and you're 2-4-1, and you're 0-4-1 in division play, which basically means you're no tiebreakers, and I think we can. If there's not exactly much separation in this division, I think we can kind of say, hey, it appears the Houston Texans are probably the 4th of this group. So, owning a tiebreaker with them may not mean much by the time that game rolls around on January the 8th. If you're 2-0, then, It's ugly but beautiful, and you're leading the AFC South, and you've got an inside track for a home playoff game. If you're 1-1, it's more of the same. If you're 0-2, we're having some conversations about the future.
Rake, I want to switch talking points to the offensive line. Earlier this week, Zach Kiefer tweeted out offensive line help for the Colts when they made a signing, and then he said, one question, though, why won't they play Dennis Kelly? Dennis Kelly subtweeted that and with a gif of, I literally don't know. What's going on with Ryan Kelly? Why can't he seem to crack any sort of opportunity with the Colts?
Well, Dennis Kelly is the guy that they brought in to be kind of the veteran swing player, what Chris Reed was for this football team last year. Dennis was then hurt during all of training camp and did not take a single rep in the preseason, both in a game nor in practice. Now we have got to the point where that's been 7 weeks. And so, I saw Dennis going through his individual workouts on Wednesday. I'm sure Kevin has seen him doing the same things on a daily basis out there, especially on the Wednesday, Thursday practices. But you would think that whatever he missed in the offseason and training camp has been made up for by now. And so much like your question about divisional struggles, Mark, the answer is, I don't know. You would think he would be next in line to get a look if the current combination doesn't fare better than they did last week against the Broncos.
Greg Rakestraw, ISC Sports Network, Carmel and LC, I believe, for Rake tonight. You go back to Sunday, Greg, and again, we're in the final week of the high school regular season, the sectional draw. I thought, out of that draw, you got some pretty juicy first-round matchups in 6A.
You did. Ben Davis and Brownsburg, a rematch in week number 1, which, of course, for the 6A guys is not next week, but is in 2 weeks. Carmel and Westfield obviously immediately comes to mind as well, even though I think both teams might be not as good as they were last year, but clearly they're amongst two that you think can go a little ways in terms of the northern half of the bracket. Even if you go to the 3A and 4A ranks next week in terms of Mount Vernon and New Pal, also Danville and Tri-West, there are some good games to choose from these first couple of weeks of the postseason.
As a Brownsburg resident, a new Brownsburg resident, I have my eyes on the Brownsburg-Hamilton Southeastern game tonight. That's a huge one. Who do you have walking out 9-0?
That's good. You would tend to say Brownsburg, but HSE is 8-0 for a reason. They're pretty good too. Yeah, it's a Brownsburg squad that you look at their 2 non-conference wins, that catches your attention immediately. Ben Davis and Cathedral. And then, the game that recently you go, wow, that pops out at you is the fact they beat Zionsville 50-3. And Zionsville's not a 6A championship contender.
I was stunned by that, Rake. I was on the call for that. I couldn't believe how out of hand it got.
Right, exactly. And so, Brownsburg, again, as I've said numerous times, they're the number 1 team, okay? But there's not the gap from them to everybody else the way we have had in, say, 4 of the last 5 years, where Ben Davis had a super team in 17, or Warren had that at 18, or Center Grove had that each of the last couple of years. I still believe this is a year where there are 5 or 6 teams, depending on how things go, could be the 6A state champs, all of them obviously in the local area. So Brownsburg is the favorite, which then makes them the favorite tonight, but I don't expect it to be easy because this is clearly the best team that HSE has had in 15 years, if not longer.
Rake, last one for me. I want to sneak in a college football one. I get it's jumbled right now, but I think they've got the best quarterback in the division, and I would call them the Big Ten West favorite here in mid-October. Would you agree with that sentiment for Purdue?
It's crazy to think that. And everybody on each campus, maybe the exception of Northwestern, has to think, my goodness, we've got a shot of winning this bad division. And again, do I think that whomever comes out of the West would do any damage whatsoever against Ohio State? Nope. Or Michigan or Penn State, frankly, for that matter. But I think you couched it very well. Of the teams that are, all on level footing in the West, who's one of the best quarterback? Well, you could say that is Aiden O'Connell, and I would tend to agree. So, it's one thing when you just simply go, hey, they're tied for first, 3 games into Big Ten play. But when you spit out who is left on the schedule, it's Nebraska, it's Illinois, it's Wisconsin, it's Northwestern, it's Iowa, it's Indiana, nobody that really has shown consistently they're any good. Purdue's got a shot in every game. Purdue could be playing at Lucas Oil Stadium on December the 3rd.
Rake, last one from me. Colts Jaguars Sunday. Who you have winning?
Colts. You want to know why?
Yes, I do.
The sanity of the postgame show host. That's why.
Are you at your wit's end at this
That's
point?
a selfish pick, Rake.
Right. It's all about me. It always has been. No, in all seriousness, after the Jaguars beat the Colts, and the next week you go, hey, maybe Jacksonville's got something. And then you had last week against the Houston Texans. And we all know the history of the Colts struggling in Jacksonville. The flip side is true here in Indianapolis. It's not like Jacksonville has had Indy's number in this building. Last year, the Jaguars, in a matchup about this same time of year, looked pretty putrid in terms of playing against the Colts. So, having the mini bye, having that extra break, coming back home, having more time for that offensive line to work together, I think the Colts are going to win this one coming up on Sunday afternoon.
I can't even imagine Greg's sanity after having to work a Thursday night game last week, watch that game, and then have to take calls for hours afterwards into the wee hours of the morning.
That's why they pay the big
Mark,
bucks.
It was actually more positive than you'd think since they won.
That is true.
If they had lost, we've been having a completely different conversation. But most callers were looking at that in a positive light as, hey, found a way to win the game when the offensive effort was terrible because they could focus on defense and special teams. So when we had we literally hit the airwaves at 12:10. We had phone callers for 2 straight hours. We had phone calls into the 2 o'clock hour last Friday morning.
Winning ugly is still winning.
Busy time of year for Greg Rakestraw. Again, tonight, Carmel LC, the state high school tournament, starts up next week for football and, of course, a whole lot of Colts as well. Rake, have a great weekend, man. I'll see you Sunday.
All right, thanks, guys.
Greg Rakestraw right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. It's just astonishing to me, Mark. I go back to this for the, futility the Colts have had in this division here lately. You've got to go back to 2017 for Jacksonville's last road game in the AFC South. Road win, in the AFC South.
Yeah, that is wild.
13 straight? That's got to be close to an NFL record.
That's got to be. Did you know the Jaguars have been bad? I didn't know they were that putrid in the division. And then the fact that the Colts are still struggling with them in Jacksonville. It's like, can you just get the win against them, please? Just end this charade.
They can't even be competitive in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I go back to that week 2 matchup and think, no Michael Pittman, no Alec Pierce. They'll be out there on Sunday. I think that is huge to kind of offsetting everything Jacksonville almost disrespected the Colts with in week 2. And rightfully so. They said there's no chance any of these receivers are going to beat us. So we're just going to stuff the box. We're going to load it up, and our defensive line will win in those obvious pass rushing situations. I think Taylor had 4 yards on 5 carries in the first half of that matchup. You get in those 3rd and longs, and then all of a sudden, Matt Ryan's hit 11 times and sacked 5 times. I'd like to think with just the presence of Pittman and then what Pierce has shown on film the last few weeks, Jacksonville won't be able to commit everything towards the run and, again, set up those obvious 3rd and longs like they did in week 2.
Yeah, following that game against the Jaguars, we said when your best offensive player is your running back and you get down multiple scores late, you have to abandon the run at some point, and they just didn't have the wide receiver weapons. Now you've seen, obviously, Michael Pittman Jr. is their number 1. Alex Pierce, according to the owner, is making strides. He looks legit. So let's see if we can keep building on that, and let's take the pressure off of Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line. Let Matt Ryan have some time to drop back and find his receivers open. So then maybe that will take some pressure off, and the Jaguars' defense will have to play a little more on their heels than they did in week 2.
And again, if you're Frank Reich, and I know I said this after the week 2 loss, you are begging Gus Bradley not to let Trevor Lawrence get into that early game rhythm. I mean, he is, throughout these numbers earlier in the week, it's 58% against every team not named the Colts this season, and then 82% against the Colts.
Yeah. Stack the box, have a spy on him.
To him.
Don't let him roll out.
To him. You cannot let him sit back there. It felt like he was never moved off his spot in week 2. He just got to the top of the drop, and it was pitch and catch. He usually, in both of these matchups, he converts that early 3rd down, and I just feel like that is the jolt of confidence he needs to look like a totally totally different quarterback. So massive for the Colts on Sunday to do that. If you missed it last night, consider it a blessing. 12-7, Washington over Chicago on Thursday Night Football. Mark, we were talking a little bit in the break. When I watch Justin Fields, you certainly see something there. Toughness was on display last night. Ability to make some plays with his legs. I just hope that he gets into an offensive system. Well, two things. I hope they find a better offensive line, and two, an offensive system that I just think caters a little bit more to his talents, his skill set. I feel like, and Ryan Fitzpatrick said this after the game, I thought it was pretty accurate, just don't try and mold him into being that pocket passer necessarily, because if you ask him to do that for 4 quarters, he's going to get exposed.
Yeah, I mean, we all see the athleticism, especially when he rolls out and uses his feet. I mean, he had that run late in the fourth quarter. We're like, oh my god! And he had a similar one in the Vikings game that got called back on a block in the back penalty, where he just takes off, and it reminds you of like Michael Vick or Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson. You're like, wow, there it is. And he throws a pass to Dante Pettis for a touchdown that's over the shoulder, perfectly thrown. Like, there it is. But just, I think, they're trying to mold him into a pocket passer. He's not comfortable yet. You could see by just his footwork. He's bouncing around back there. He's not sure. If his first read isn't there, his first instinct is just take off and run. So he's not looking at all his receivers that could possibly be open. It's a work in progress. And that offensive line, they have a bunch of young guys. It was their worst performance of the season by far. Montez Sweat was having a field day with their rookie left tackle, Braxton Jones. So it's a work in progress, and they don't have the weapons available. And I feel like I'm being a Fields defender at times because people are like, give up on him. He's a bum. That. I'm like, look at the offensive line. Look at the weapons he's got. I mean, he's got wide receivers that are getting hit in the hands with passes and dropping them left and right. This is a work in progress. Wins and losses do not matter to this Bears team in 2022. It is all about development with the offensive line, with Justin Fields, with your young guys. They have the most rookies starting in the NFL by far. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They've got $100 million in cap space next offseason. They've got all their full complement of draft picks. We'll see what happens. I'm not worried about it right now.
Speaking of young guys, did you guys hear that? I don't know, Sam, you were at the game, so maybe you didn't hear this. You were at Pacers-Knicks on Wednesday night. Chris Denari on the broadcast said that the Pacers' average age of their roster is a year and a half younger than the Fort Wayne Mad Ants.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I had not heard that, no. I knew we were the youngest team in the NBA this year, but I didn't know even compared to our G League.
Right. That is wild. And you were impressed by Andrew Nembhard the other night, Sam?
Yeah. Nembhard really stepped up. We were trailing in the fourth quarter. I think we were down 10 with 6 minutes to go. And I'm not going to make, a 1-to-1 comparison here, but much like how people see Chris Paul as that fourth quarter point guard that can bring a team back, Nembhard just stepped up and started producing.
Hit some big shots.
Yeah, he hit, I think, 3 threes in a row to end the game, 15 points. He was an assist short of a double-double. And his communication was just, that's what I think we're paying for with. We gave him the largest second-round contract that we've ever given somebody out of college, right? And I think we're giving him that $8.6 million because he communicates like he's been playing pro ball. He got Batadze on fire, which is not something that we've seen with anybody playing with Batadze as a Pacer yet.
Yeah, I feel like with him, I know I said this yesterday, just kind of that poor man's Malcolm Brogdon with his game. I'm very curious to see how they divvy up the minutes with TJ McConnell and Nembhard behind Tyrese Halliburton. But I think no matter who is in the game, whether it's Halliburton, TJ McConnell, or Nembhard, you have very, very pass-first, high basketball IQ point guards, and I think that is critical in evaluating the guys around them and just continuing that ball movement. I thought at times, and I guess this is a shot at Brogdon, I just felt like the ball just stopped too much with Brogdon. I know he had decent assist numbers, but I just felt like at times you get late into a possession in particular, and the ball would just really, really slow down.
The pace was never there.
You got into late clock situations, and it was just a recipe for disaster. Again, the Pacers and the Rockets tonight, 7 o'clock over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the final preseason game before Wednesday's regular season opener. That is the Wizards. 3 straight home games out of the gate for the Pacers to start.
Somebody pointed this out, and I wanted to see if you had noticed. They said how Bennedict Mathurin's, I mean, I know you're a huge fan, but his initials, BM, and then his double zeros. Have you seen how they do B on one side, his double zeros, and then M on the other side, so it's boom. Do you like that or not?
Whoa, no. You're going to have to show me a picture of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this like a created, like,
I think I got to find where it was.
Twitter,
someone sent it to me, and they said, I'm surprised Kevin hasn't mentioned this. And I'm like, I didn't even notice that, to be quite honest. I need to try to dig it up. But I saw that, and I was like, well, that seems like that's a fun thing.
Yeah, Luke mentions, think how much younger the roster would be without James Johnson. He's like 35, 36. Langston Galloway's up there in age. We'll see if those guys make the roster. Pacers have got some roster moves to make this weekend as they get things set for the regular season next week. In a few minutes, we're going to play... it's not often you see an NFL head coach storm off and end his postgame presser, particularly after a win. That happened last night with Ron Rivera. Pretty fed up, I think, with how everything's been handled.
This is after a win, by the way.
Right. Again, very rare with Carson Wentz. And so we'll play some of that audio here. Coming up, let's do a morning check down on the Fan.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Ball State Football. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What T.Y. Hilton is to the Houston Texans, Yordan Alvarez is to the Seattle Mariners. Up 2-1, sixth inning, the Mariners. Luis Castillo pitching well, 98-mile-per-hour fastball, and next thing you know, Alvarez has hit another one over the fence. A 2-run shot. It was a 3-2 lead. They tacked on one more, and that was it. It is now a 2-0 lead for the Astros, 4-2 over the Mariners. And that one is at 2-0. The other AL series is 1-0, and the two NLs are 1-1?
Correct, yep. You feel good that the Mariners will at least get a win?
Oh, God. I mean, that's just such a kick in the you-know-what.
I've been getting flashes of when they won whatever it was 112 games and then they got bounced in the first round. Like I said, I like the Mariners.
To be fair, no one thought the Mariners would be in the playoffs.
I like the Mariners. Again, I've said it a couple times. I think they're a year or two away, and the Astros are just playoff built, and they're showing it so far.
Today's games, Yankees and Guardians. That was postponed from last night. Mother Nature is pushing that today. 1:07, the first pitch there. Shane Bieber, Nestor Cortez. 4:37 will be the Braves and Phillies in Philly. That is the first home playoff game for the Phils since 2011. And the nightcap, the Padres and the Dodgers, the first home playoff, I think first non-COVID home playoff game for San Diego since 2006. Again, both those NL series tied at 1.
Who do you like in the NL? I know the Mariners, your AL team.
I've got a soft spot for the Phillies a little bit. I don't know if that's Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
A little bit there. Phillies or Padres.
Okay.
You guys?
I like Schwarber, obviously. I still pick the Braves to win that series, and I like the Padres a lot, but I think the Dodgers will win, so I have Braves-Dodgers coming out of those series.
As a Phillies fan, I'm very biased here, but I mean, I think the fact that they managed to get a win away with that Suarez-Fried matchup,
yeah,
and you had your number 4 pitcher beat their ace, and now you've got your ace at home. I think the Phillies can win this one at least.
And boy, they hung in there the other night until kind of the small ball there in the 6th inning with the Braves scoring 3 runs. In that one. All right, looking at the Colts injury report heading into the final practice of the week, it's much better than it looked on Wednesday. Again, Kwity Paye, Shaquille Leonard, those are the two I would expect not to play. Nyheim Hines is an interesting one heading into Sunday. He is still being listed as limited in his progression through the concussion protocol, whereas Tyquan Lewis, who did suffer his concussion in the game before Hines did. Hines was last Thursday against Denver. Lewis was against the Titans. We saw Tyquan get to be a full participant. That is noteworthy, Mark, because without Kwity Paye, I'm expecting more Tyquan Lewis and more Dayo Adengbo with that absence. But I think all in all, from what it looked like on Wednesday with 8 guys not practicing, I really only look at 2 guys that I would label in the no-go category here on this Friday morning.
As close as a clean bill of health as you could ask for. With 2 guys out. You're like, okay, heading into a very high-stakes division game.
Of course, you look at Jacksonville, you're like, wait, all 53 of their guys are practicing? Yeah. They did put, I think, one of their offensive linemen on IR this week.
I think you're right about the wide receivers, though. Like, week 2.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean,
remember
difference.
that in week 2, man? The Paris Campbell's biggest contribution was an offensive pass interference penalty in the 4th quarter.
That would be the highlight of his career, some would say.
Gosh, that's harsh.
It's harsh, but fair.
All right, college football this weekend. Locally, it'll be Indiana hosting Maryland. This falls in the you want to get to 6 games, you cannot lose to Maryland at home category.
Crab cakes in football. That's what Maryland does.
Cannot lose to Maryland at home.
That's a kick in the candy stripes if you're double-digit underdogs at home to Maryland.
That is a slap in the face.
Yeah.
But probably the state of the program. Purdue and Nebraska, that's at Ross-Ade. Purdue coming back from those back-to-back road wins at Minnesota and Maryland. That is an interim head coach with the Cornhuskers. They are 2-1 so far in the Big Ten. Notre Dame has got Stanford. Stanford has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, their prominence is yeah, they're a shadow of what they used to be. I feel like I see Stanford now. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they're still a football program. Didn't they wipe out like half of their athletic programs during COVID?
I think that's right. If you're Matt Rule, do you take Nebraska, Auburn, Wisconsin, or sit out?
I mean, I would sit out. You got, what, $40 million you're still owed? What's your rush? You really want to go to Nebraska?
We should call Jake, get his thoughts on Nebraska and IU basketball.
Well, Jake's enjoying wherever he's at in the
Baton
Bayou
Rouge
right now.
Yeah. Brian Kelly's family's house last night.
Family.
That's where Jake was.
I'm glad I'm off on Monday because I'm sure Jake is going to come back with some kind of accent for you.
Yes, that will 1,000% be happening. All right, last night again, pretty rare to see a head coach storm off the post-game presser after a win, but that happened last night with Ron Rivera. We'll explain why next here. Kevin and Query with Marc Dykton filling in for Jake on this Friday morning.
If you have questions about buying a home or if you're ready to get pre-approved, everything starts today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
It's the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Make your game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your tickets now. It's bullseyeeventgroup.com.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our Rhino Shield has been on for 8 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Indiana Physical Therapy is your trusted choice in Central Indiana. For over 30 years, we've treated all walks of life, from peewees to professionals and Olympians, and everyone in between. Schedule at any of our 21 convenient locations, even without a doctor's order. Indiana Physical Therapy is cost-effective, accepting all insurance plans and networks. We're open from 7 to 7 and can get you in the same day you call. Go to IndianaPT.com.
Indiana Physical Therapy, where people go to get better.
Sip and save at Circle K with our great new drink subscription. Join Sip and Save today and enjoy one drink a day every day for just $5.99 a month. Enjoy your favorite Circle K ice cold fountain drink, Froster, or freshly ground coffee every day. That's 30 drinks a month for only $5.99. So sip and save at Circle K. Sign up in store or at CircleK.com. Circle K, take it easy.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains. Owner Beth Rovazini has a quiz you can take to help decide whether fixing or replacing is a better option for that older system.
Joe, we've gone through and made a list and assigned points to different things to help you decide when is it time to repair and when is it time to replace. A properly installed system should last 15 to 20 years, and sometimes when you get in that 10 to 15 year, you don't know.
B+W.com for the quiz from B&W, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner can clean your entire system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $7. a great deal to help you go a good deal farther. Find Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The last time the Colts tangled with the Jaguars, they weren't exactly hospitable hosts. So the Colts have invited them up to our place, where turnabout is fair play. And believe it or not, the AFC South is still up for grabs. It all gets started Sunday at 9 with JMV. Matt Taylor with a kickoff at 1 o'clock.
Touchdown, Colts, 6-0 Indians.
On your home for Colts football, 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Eyes still bleeding on this Friday morning, just like they were last Friday morning. 12-7, the Commanders over Marc Dykton's Bears last night. Live, did you think that was a touchdown on the final play of the game?
I thought it was, and then I when they showed the replay and I saw Mooney bobble it, I was like,
correct call, but live, I thought it might have been a score.
Yeah, a play call I would have liked to seen a little differently.
I didn't love him under center. I didn't love like the fake pitch. Don't tell me you're running a pitch on 4th and 3,
right,
or whatever it was, 4th and 2.
I feel like there could, like you said, there was 50 seconds left in that game when they got down to like the 4. I would have liked to seen a David Montgomery run, even though you had no timeouts.
First and second down.
Montgomery's a workhorse.
Get up to the line of scrimmage with 30 seconds, 25 seconds to go. Get Fields out of the pocket and maybe more designed run than what you had there on 3rd down. Post-game was interesting last night. Again, the Colts probably got the result they wanted in that the Commanders won, and considering they were 1-4 headed into last night, and the rest of the teams in their division are 4-1, 4-1, and 5-0, it's really important Washington stays somewhat within striking distance isn't even the right phrase, but relevancy in the NFC East, because you need Carson Wentz to play at least 70% of the snaps this season in order for that trade to be completed and that final pick to be a 2nd rounder versus a 3rd rounder. That's the playing time stipulation up in the air for that. Last night watching him, Mark, first off, I thought he was terrible.
Absolutely awful.
Secondly, I thought to myself, and I guess I felt this way at times, honestly, with him here in Indy. I thought his toughness, there are some people in the Colts organization that questioned Wentz's toughness last year. I thought that was ludicrous. I thought he played through injuries, gutted it out. You know, they had no business being out there in that Week 3 meeting in Tennessee last year. He gutted it out. Last night, I'm thinking to myself, his shoulder might fall off. His hand might fall off. You were saying he got taped up, on the ground, ankle at one point, and then he blocked Roquan Smith like he was.
I thought he was going to separate his shoulder. He threw that block into Roquan Smith and he laid him out, which, okay, great, but I was like, you're already got a lot of injuries going on. Maybe don't do that.
It was a pretty passionate Ron Rivera post-game. Sam's going to cue up this audio here. Again, Ron Rivera, who earlier this week, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically said that the reason why Washington is not at the same level as the other teams in the NFC East is due to the quarterback and what Dallas, the Giants, and the Eagles have built around that quarterback. He was asked last night, I believe it was in reference to a report of Daniel Snyder wanting Carson Wentz. He was asked about that postgame, and he was pretty passionate about it.
They've played their asses off. They have. They play their asses off for everybody. They come out and they show up. They work hard. All right. They don't complain. Okay. They hear all this stuff and they got to deal with it. I get that. I respect them for that because they're resilient. They come out. Everybody keeps wanting to say, I didn't want anything to do with Carson. Well, bullshit. I'm the guy that pulled out the sheets of paper, that looked at the analytics, that watched the tape in when we were in Indianapolis. Okay. And that's what me off. Because the young man doesn't deserve to have that all the time. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Exit stage right for Ron Rivera. Early shower.
Yeah.
The post-game presser. Not often you hear a head coach post-game not only ended early, but what do we get in there? 2 Fs and a BS?
Yeah.
Not Sam Fritz, great work on the bleeping out.
It was 1 F, 1 BS, and then a P that a lot of people say isn't an FCC violation, but I still treat it like one.
Gotcha.
So,
Smart. Look at you.
Just in case the fans at home really wanted to know what we were dealing with.
That's what separates you from Marc Dykton. Mark
I would
let that go.
Well, to be fair, he's in the chair. So.
That's true.
You know, when Zach Kiefer had his little moment a few weeks ago, Mark, we got to get on that.
Yeah. Bears primetime games, like Dennis Green had that blow up after a loss, of course, on Monday night. And
something
now
about the Bears.
Ron Rivera, something in the water when you play the Bears, where you're just more pedoed than usual.
You know what's funny about that clip? When the Colts made the trade for Matt Ryan, and just to refresh everyone's memories on those two trades, the Colts traded Carson Wentz to the Commanders. The Commanders gave Indianapolis a... did they swap third-rounders? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they swapped third-rounders.
And then the Colts got either the second-rounder or third-rounder here in 2023. Still
depends on how long,
to be
how
determined.
Many completion or starting snaps he takes.
They also had Washington eat the rest of Carson Wentz's $26 million, I forget the number, something like that, contract, which is shocking to me because, as I said back in March, and I will mention again, the Colts would have cut him the next week. They would have cut Carson Wentz and been done with him because the owner wanted nothing to do with him. Ron Rivera, when the Colts made the trade for Matt Ryan, which the Colts did not have to give up the amount of draft capital that Washington did for Wentz, let alone eat the amount of salary. Again, I think a lot of people figured if the Colts were to move Wentz, they would have to eat a chunk of that salary. Ron Rivera texted someone that I'll just label as a high-ranking Colts official and simply said, "How did you guys do that?" So part of me wishes
How
Ron
did you
Rivera,
fleece us like you just did?
Pretty much. Part of me wishes a little true serum for Ron Rivera last night and think, is that pent-up frustration because you're thinking back to March when, and again, right now, both Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz have clear issues. I mean, I'm not sitting here acting like Matt Ryan is some vastly superior quarterback than Wentz, but when you consider what you gave up for each of them, the Colts did win out in that situation in that you do have the additional pick coming next year. From a financial stake, Matt Ryan's contract is not the length that Carson Wentz is, and again, Washington ate all of Carson Wentz's contract.
If everything was even, do you think Ron Rivera would like a do-over? Because have you heard that how they were close to acquiring Jimmy G, and then because of the shoulder surgery that he had to take, they nixed that deal? So if Wentz was the fallback plan.
Interesting.
On Jimmy G.
They the graphic was going around yesterday. Have you seen all the draft picks teams have given up for Carson Wentz over the years?
It's absurd.
So if you go back to what Philly, with Frank Reich as their OC and Doug Peterson as their head coach, what Philly gave up to draft him, Philly traded up twice. That was Jared Goff 1, Carson Wentz 2. Ironically, both the Rams and Eagles traded up. With what Philly gave up, with what Indy gave up, and then what Washington gave up, it is 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks, and a 4th-rounder.
It's the old adage that they say in the NFL where a struggling quarterback, the next coaching staff thinks they can be the ones that can harness that. We can get it out of them. We can do it.
And I understand, Mark, to that point, I understand like one team thinking that. Washington thinking it when you watched him in Philly fall apart and be broken, really. That means you're in the division. And then you see Indy where the head coach was the dude's great friend and biggest believer. They bail on him after 1 year. Again, they would have cut him. How does Washington sit there and think, no, third time's the charm.
Yeah.
We're going to be the team.
We're going to be the organization.
Around, right?
Well, they did it with Donovan McNabb, too. I mean, Donovan McNabb was in the division. And granted, Donovan McNabb has the higher pedigree than Carson Wentz. But it was another thing where you took an old Eagles quarterback, and then he was a shell of himself. And Carson Wentz, I just don't see how you could even go to that thing. And the fact that they ate the whole contract, that is bizarre. That's just wild to me. Sam?
In what little defense I can award Carson Wentz, he followed me from Philadelphia out to Indianapolis.
Oh, well, we didn't know that part. So
training order.
Yeah. I was here
Colts
first.
fans would love to throw Sam Fritz in the canal on this Friday.
In what little defense I can give him, Philadelphia never let that man recover 100%. They kept putting him back out on the field at, they'll say 80, 90. He was probably no better than 60% healed off of any injury he had. And I think maybe Washington thought they could get this guy a little bit of a break. They could get him back closer to 100% than he's been in literally half a decade.
Yeah, and I hear you out, Sam. I feel like I've taken this Jim Irsay phrase and now used it way too often. I've more worry about Carson in between the ears. Almost less about physical health, which he has been beat up, to your point. But I just think you see go back to the Kurt Warner interview with us after last season. I think you see a quarterback that just cannot process anywhere near to the level that maybe he did before the ACL. And maybe the ACL set up everything. Maybe that combination of, because I think we all can have a human element with Carson Wentz watching Nick Foles win that Super Bowl. There had to be some point of him that was like, damn.
He completed the work that I set him up for.
That should have been me. Yeah. I was supposed to be the MVP. I was leading this team to, what were they, 13-2, 13-3 when he got hurt?
Roughly.
Something crazy like that in December. And I do think, I know front runner is the right word, guys, but I think Carson has always kind of been that at North Dakota State. Like, not a lot of plain adversity thrown his way from his high school days through his collegiate days. Then he gets to Philly, for the most part, pretty smooth sailing, really good in his second year, and then boom, the ACL happens. And then when he starts to have some playing adversity in 2018 and 2019, that's when I think just being in that Philly environment got to him.
I feel like that's the case with a lot of young quarterbacks. They've grown up their whole life being the best player on the team, in the school, at the university. So they get told that they're the best, and then when they actually face some adversity, that's when you got to see what kind of mettle they actually have, because, I mean, it's more mental than physical at times. So we've questioned Carson Wentz's mental capabilities when it comes to the football game, and you're seeing that with other young QBs too. Can they overcome this adversity? Can they overcome the struggles and build off of it? And for him, it seems like he can't.
Let's get to Mike. Mike is on the phone lines here. Mike, good Friday morning to you.
Hey, good morning, guys. So I was at a bar last night having a couple beers, watching that game, and me and this guy, man, we got to arguing, and I thought for a hot second we was okay.
Whoa!
You guys' perspective on
Say it again. Did you think it was going to come to blows there for a second? You kind of broke up.
I sure thought so. There for a hot minute, I thought, all right, well, about to get crazy in here.
Here we go.
It was just that deep of a sports conversation, and about the Colts. So I'm going to get you guys' opinion. The argument was, if they had never signed Phillip Rivers back in 2020 or whatever that was, and Brady was a free agent, if Tom Brady, and I'm just using him as an example, if he had signed with Indy, and he's still here because he's still in Tampa, is Tom Brady even alive right now after this line that we have, or do you think Ballard would have put some initiative into getting a left tackle? I guess I went a little harder after a left tackle than what he has this year. I mean, you get my drift where I'm going with this?
Well, I am, Mike. I'm a little afraid to give my answer because I'm afraid the other guy might show up here to the circle and be waiting for Mark or I, after the show ends here.
Kevin Bowen, I'm waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I broke this bottle last night at the bar. It's been sitting on my nightstand waiting for you. The Brady point is interesting because Mike isn't really asking, would Brady have come here? He's saying Brady is here. Mm-hmm. How would you have addressed building around him? I would have liked to have. Part of me would like to think that Chris Ballard would realize that Tom Brady has a bit of clout and you would listen to him about roster moves.
As long as he didn't bring Antonio Brown here.
Well, I'm thinking, Gronk with Tampa.
Yeah.
I think with, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Tampa draft Tristan Wirfs in that 2020 draft? Mm-hmm. I think it was in that draft. I would like to think that, again, Brady would say, hey, if I'm doing this, we cannot be patchworking at left tackle.
Well, Julio Jones might be here, too, if that's the case. Didn't he have some saying that?
Not holding my breath on that, Mike.
No. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to change.
Because Costanzo retired, after the 2019 season? Is that right?
Yeah, and he'd offered hints that he was retiring a couple years earlier.
2020? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think he played with Rivers in 2020.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so you would have had Costanzo for that final season with, or would have been Brady's first season, I guess. Has Brady been in Tampa 3 years?
Yeah.
So his third season there?
Yeah. You got 2 years of him in the Gronk show, and then, now this year.
No, this year. All right, voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor. He's going to join us here in about 10 minutes.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale, October 14th through the 17th, and get 40% off paints and stains with prices starting at $26.69. That means 40% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 40% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
The NFL action is in full swing at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. And if that's not enough, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Right now, for every leg you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100%. With payouts bigger than ever, why bet on football anywhere else? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code 1075FAN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins and when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code 1075FAN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Bonus issued as free bets, 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
JMV here for my guys John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. The cold weather is here, and you need to make sure your furnace is tuned up and safe and efficient for the winter months ahead. So right now, get the recommended service from Love Heating and Air Conditioning, and the Love family will waive the $95 trip and diagnostic fee. These are the guys that I trust with my home. I love the guys at Love, and you will too. Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-754-0754. That's 317-754-0754. Online, love-hvac.com today. Tell them JMV sent you.
My name is Megan Davis, and I am the Director of Training and Communications here at the Humane Society for Hamilton County. We nominated Trudy because he truly embodies our mission and message of whatever it takes.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
I think what the most important thing to me is when we get dogs in that are so scared, I just love to take these dogs under my wing. I need my vehicle to be in top shape because I'm driving here 6 days a week.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year, whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies or drives somewhere to serve on site. Jiffy Lube supports local givers who count on their car to do more for Indy, and we love to hear their stories.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
Wendy's new French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me, did you just say Wendy's new French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
The Colts VIP Tailgate is all you can eat in an open bar for 3 hours before kickoff for all Colts home games by Bullseye Event Group. The Colts VIP Tailgate is the official tailgate for Colts fans on game days. Located at the Bullseye Event Center directly across the street from Lucas Oil Stadium. Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com for Colts VIP tailgates. All you can eat food by Food Network chef Aaron May. Bullseye Event Group offers indoor and outdoor climate controlled lounge seating for a VIP tailgate experience. All ages welcome. Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com for tickets today.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
The Pacers wrap up the preseason against the Houston Rockets this evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
A couple comments from the YouTube chat. They're curious about Ryan Kelly. Again, asked Frank Reich on Wednesday if healthy, Ryan Kelly is going to still be the Colts center. He said that the thought to benching him for Danny Pinter is something they have not discussed. I think it's a conversation they should be having, considering the recent play and just, I think, continued injuries more than anything with Kelly this deep into his career. And then Lyndon wanted me to repeat or kind of clarify, I guess, those Ron Rivera comments. Again, when Rivera saw what the Colts gave up for Matt Ryan versus what Washington had to give up for Carson Wentz, Rivera texted someone high up, certainly within the Colts organization, saying, "How did you do that?"
That's hilarious to me.
Not a ringing endorsement of proper resources that you had to give up for one quarterback versus the other. And again, I hear that, Marc Dykton, and I do think the report you saw last night of Daniel Snyder wanting Carson Wentz had to be at play. Mm-hmm. As much as Jim Irsay said to Chris Ballard, get rid of him. I don't care how you do it, get rid of him. And again, I think they would have cut him the following week. I almost look at what Washington had to do with Wentz and think that was Daniel Snyder saying to Ron Rivera and their management, do anything it takes to get to him, because right now, without Garoppolo and without the Dwayne Haskins thing tragically not working out, I mean, all of that, they had no answer.
Yeah, they had Taylor Heineke, and that was about it, which I like Taylor Heineke. He's a serviceable backup, but I don't think he's your starting quarterback. But then that calls into question, too, that Ron Rivera's comments after the game last night. So then he was saying, I've done the work. I looked at the film and this and that.
I think that's just public.
That's covering his CYA.
I think it's just public, just spewing out some public comments.
That could very well be the case.
Again, the Commanders 12-7.
They've got a murderer's row schedule coming up. So for those hoping for the 70% snap rate, buckle up, because the Commanders, following their mini bye week now, host the Packers at Indianapolis, host the Vikings, and then at Philly on Monday Night Football. So they've got a murderer's row 4-game slate coming up.
What do you guys think about Bills favored at Arrowhead on Sunday?
I mean, as the Bills being my Super Bowl pick, I like it. I think I would take the Bills in that game, get a little bit of revenge from their playoff loss.
Mahomes at home with points, that's not enticing to you?
It is enticing.
Is it 2.5? Is that what I saw?
I think that's the last check, but yeah, that is the game of the weekend, and it's the late afternoon window. So
the
don't have to worry about
solo 425 game.
Yep.
I heard earlier on Keyshawn, J. Willen, and Max that this is Mahomes' first time being the underdog at home in his entire career. Which I don't know how you put a guy who essentially is going to be the next generational superstar, already is at this point, as an underdog, even against the Bills.
I think chalking up to the Bills' defense with Von Miller, that's been a great addition for them. But yeah, Bills currently the 2.5-point favorites there. Yeah, the rest of the 4 o'clock games stink. Panthers at Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, no thank you. All eyes should be on Bills, Chiefs.
If I'm starting an NFL franchise today, I'd take Josh Allen over Mahomes.
You would?
I think I would.
That's not. I mean, you're doing well for yourself either way.
Yeah, I'm not acting like that's some scorching hot take by any means, but I think that's what. I don't know. There's just something about Allen that I really, really like.
Yeah, he's got the arm, he's got the legs, he can do a lot. Mahomes is the same way though. Mahomes has made passes in his career that I'm just like, I've never seen that before. Like where he's falling sideways and he makes a perfect pass to the back of the end zone to Travis Kelce or something like that.
Yeah, so that'll be 4:25 on Sunday. Again, Colts and Jags, 1 o'clock on CBS leading into that one. We'll talk more about that with the voice of the Colts. Matt Taylor joins us next here. 9 o'clock hour coming up. Kevin and Corey.
Decades of tradition.
And this is a moment that memory will make.
Tailgating in any kind of weather.
The snow coming down nearly in chunks now.
Face painting and school colors. All the ingredients for the American Standard College Football Saturday. It's a Big Ten showdown between two top-ranked teams as number 10 Penn State visits the Big House to take on number 5 Michigan at noon. American Standard College Football Saturday on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Have fire, water, or mold damage? Call Hayes & Sons, your local restoration specialist with over 40 years of experience. At Hayes & Sons, they do restoration right. HayesandSons.com.
College football coverage this Saturday on The Fan is brought to you by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your trusted independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Danville.
Get what you want and pay over time when you use your Lowe's Advantage Card. Now through October 26, 2022. Ask for 0% APR with 36 fixed monthly payments on a product installation or appliance purchase of $1,000 or more. Shop for the appliances you want in-store or online. Or go to the store nearest you for installation. Now at Lowe's. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store Lowe's.com for details. U.S. only.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
Building through the draft is usually a key part of any NFL team's success. The New England Patriots roster in the 2016-2017 season was comprised of 55% of players that the Patriots drafted. 15 of those players were drafted in rounds 4 through 7, including Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Rob Ninkovich. The Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl that season 34-28 over the Atlanta Falcons.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
In football, getting the chance to have all your top picks on your team is a fantasy. In business, the right conversations can make it a reality. Because when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 810 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Jane doesn't mind an apartment with no elevator.
5 flights of stairs is 5 plates of cardio.
Bob is a little less enthusiastic about stairs.
I hate stairs.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle renters and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Jane and Bob found an apartment that's a 4-story walk-up. And Bob?
Yeah, there's a freight elevator she doesn't know about.
What were you talking about?
Oh, nothing.
Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. What's happening on West 56th? Presented by Shelby Materials, the concrete and aggregate experts. We'll find out in 30 seconds.
Do you want to work for a company who has your back? You can count on Shelby Materials. Shelby Materials has 10 ready-mix locations in central Indiana and is looking for Class B CDL drivers. Highlights include being home every night and every other weekend off during peak season. Shelby Materials stands behind its work, products, and people. We support our employees with competitive wages and benefits, including 401k, PTO, paid holidays, HSA, and a sign-on bonus. Learn more about your next opportunity by visiting shelbymaterials.com.
Now, what's happening on West 56th? Brought to you by Shelby Materials, the concrete and aggregate experts.
Probably one of the more accurate statements you'll hear all day. Marc Dykton receiving a text in the break saying, today feels a little bit more focused. Out of the old 7 to 10 show here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. No shock there with Jake Query out.
Yeah, I haven't had any metaphors yet. I haven't gone on any soliloquies.
Now it is the 9 o'clock hour.
Now, does this feel weird for you? Are you uncomfortable with it?
I am a little. I'm like,
breaking the routine.
Something seems off. I'm sweating a little bit more than I usually do, and like you said, that chair, you never know. That could drum something up here.
Something could trigger me. We're in the 9 o'clock hour. You never know. Things get weird.
Final hour of the week. I was thinking about this last night, and it has some relevancy with our next guest, because our next guest is a big baseball fan. I know a little bit of that has probably waned based off how his our Redlegs, I should say, have looked over the past few years. But like that rating last night of Commanders and Bears, in my opinion, will still be very, very high because you didn't have Yankees Guardians to turn the channel to.
No.
With the rain delay.
Well, it's one of those things, too, where, again, the app makes it a little more difficult to jump out of.
Sure. But even like, if you would have got to halftime last night and had the option of Yankees Guardians, and it was like, 1-1 in the 6th, you could have people that are like, wait, what? Over 50 drives without a touchdown in Thursday Night Football, over 100 minutes played. Screw this. I'm going to baseball. Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, is our next guest. Mate, I don't know if you watched or how much you did last night of Thursday Night Football, but was there any part of you that was thinking, I could use a little Yankees Guardians right now?
I did watch a great deal. And the month of October, heck, even November, with all the football going on, plus basketball and hockey, I'll watch hockey from a novice standpoint, but those are 2 TV months for me. I've got TVs going, or a phone going with the TV on in the evening time, watching games, simultaneously. It's a great time of year to be a sports fan. I say October, November, March, best sports months of the year. And so, yeah, I'll drag a second TV out, and I had West Virginia Baylor on TV number 2 last night. So anyway,
high scoring affair, right?
We were missing baseball last night, so I was watching a high scoring, meaningless, at least for me, Big 12 game. So it was great.
No lack of touchdowns in that one.
Tell that to Pat McAfee. I said this earlier. Yordan Alvarez is to the Mariners what T.Y. Hilton is to the Houston Texans.
Okay, I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it.
2-run homer last night off of our guy Luis Castillo.
I didn't watch that game. I didn't see it.
So did you see the walk-off he had the other night?
Yes, I did see that part, yeah.
Gosh, and then last night, man, 2-1.
Oh, he had another one?
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't a walk-off, but in the 6th, they're up 2-1. Castillo's pitching great. 98-mile-per-hour fastball. Boom. Gone.
Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Yeah.
I got a little soft spot for the Mariners with their Reds connections.
Course. Well, yeah, it's the Reds farm team, I mean, that's what my dad texted me last night, too. He's a big Reds fan as well, and that's primarily where I get it. But he's like, this just POs, man. All these Reds players are, contributing. You got Castellanos with Philly and all the guys with the Mariners. They should have. They could have competed. They could have won that division had they, spent some money and not overreacted to the pandemic, which they absolutely did. But yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow considering all these guys are playing well and they're getting their postseason moments after not even sniffing the postseason in a Reds uniform, and the fact that the Reds franchise, is light years away from ever having those types of moments again. So try not to think about it.
Yeah, salt meat wound on this Friday morning.
No doubt.
Real quick from Bears Commanders, lots of Colts last night. Matt Eberflus, Alan Williams, Carson Wentz, Al-Qadim Muhammad. Any former Colts in last night's game that you missed the most, Matt Taylor, out of that group?
Forgot about Al-Qadim Muhammad. He made a couple plays last night.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, he was always a very, very solid player. I don't know if he's ever going to reach the status of a double-digit sacks a season type of a guy, but he's definitely a guy that can come in and play, 50% of the snaps for you. So, good for him finding a new home in free agency with the Bears. Obviously, knows the Matt Eberflus system very well. That was attractive to now the head coach in Chicago in free agency to get a guy that he was familiar with for 4 years here in Indianapolis. So yeah, he was always a good guy to talk to. He was always sort of like bottom line, just business oriented, driven, focused, motivated.
Lunch pail to work.
No doubt. He was a good dude, and so I'm good to see. Or it's good to see him having some success in the same system, but just in a different place.
Last 2 Thursday night games, you needed to chase it with Pepto-Bismol for each of them, with how bad it's been.
Or liquor, bottom shelf liquor.
No, that could be
bad. I mean, I know everybody's like, "Oh, where that?" I mean, Al Michaels sounded like he was going to fall asleep in that game last night. He just sounded so bored, and like those teams in that game was so beneath him. But I mean, it's football. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
It is football, but we should hold the NFL to a higher standard.
Well, sure, but I mean, I didn't hate it the last 2 weeks as much as everybody else. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make.
Al Michaels was falling asleep because he just ate a porterhouse earlier that day.
There's only so many octaves you can go with the Chase McLaughlin field goal. Granted, the Stephon Gilmore pick was huge.
No, it was. I mean, there was, and for everybody that's moaning and groaning, there were more points scored last week than there was last night.
Can you imagine taking that bet at the start of the night? Voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, he's with us. Our coverage will begin 9 a.m. JMV from the Bullseye Event Center. Mayte and Coach Venturi and Lara Overton, of course, on the call this Sunday with Jacksonville. Matt, I feel like in these matchups with Jacksonville, the starts of games have totally set the tone with what Trevor Lawrence has done on the opening drives. If I'm not mistaken, the Colts, I think they went 3-and-out last year down there, and then this year Wentz had that pick on the Matt Ryan had that pick on the opening drive after you had crossed midfield. And I think back to just the slow starts this year, I feel like the Colts have gotten the ball every single game and haven't done anything with it, right. And that just puts you behind the 8 ball.
No, you're right on it. The Colts have received the opening possession every single game this year, and they have failed to score on their opening drive of the game. I mean, the Colts have punted 3 times, 3 3-and-outs, and then 2 turnovers. They had an interception against Jacksonville in week 2, and actually had a promising drive working. And then same thing against Tennessee. They were in plus territory, I think, and then suffered a fumble. So those are huge. And you just look at just the general slow starts, and then also, too, I did the math last night, was geeking out a little bit. I had some time, but I did the math on total time played this year. So the Colts have played 5 games plus 2 overtimes, so that's 317 minutes of football, okay? 317 minutes of football this year for the Colts. Of that time, they have led for 36 minutes of the 317 minutes.
Wow.
So you're talking about 11%. That's 11% of the games this year where the Colts have.
Oh, that's Jake's algebra grade right now.
See, I'm not as dumb as I look, and I did the math like 3 times to make sure I got it right. But that's what the numbers tell you. So, I think every team can say this or could say this, but definitely the Colts. Think about how much different of a team the Colts could be or would be if they played from the top on the scoreboard. I mean, your play calling on offense would be different. You would probably have more takeaways on defense because you would be able to change some things up schematically, get after the quarterback, pin your ears back if you're up by 2 scores, in the 3rd or 4th quarter. You would just be a completely different team from a dynamic standpoint if you could establish the lead in some of these games. And that's been, to bring it home or full circle in this game against Trevor Lawrence, you're exactly right. Him getting off to good starts against the Colts has been the bottom line for him in these last 2 games. I mean, 83% completion percentage, by far a career high for him back in week number 2. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he completed his first 7 passes against the Colts, which gets him into a rhythm. He's a quick rhythm, timing quarterback. It establishes his confidence. It establishes, what the game plan is that day against the Colts. So I think going forward in this game, get after him early, set the tone in the first quarter, don't let him settle in, and hopefully you can get the crowd behind you, the home field advantage behind you in this game, and establish the tone that you're just not going to settle in and be cool and comfortable like you were back in week 2 when seemingly everything came easy for him that day.
Trevor Lawrence needs to drink whatever he's drinking before Colts games with every other game because he doesn't look very good otherwise unless he's playing the Colts. Matt Ryan will have Alec Pierce in week, something he didn't have in their first matchup. Do you see Pierce's role starting to grow as there's more trust built with the offense and Matt Ryan?
Pierce has been awesome. He's got 15 catches for 222 yards in the last 3 games. And he got off to a shaky start, as we all know, right? I mean, dropped a couple of passes, one in the end zone against Houston, and then didn't play in week 2 with a concussion. So him being back, I think, is going to be just as big as getting Michael Pittman Jr. back in this game. He didn't play in week 2 either. So those 2 guys are really sort of the comfort and the stability in the passing game for Matt Ryan. So if the Colts can figure out the offensive line combination and protect better in this game, you're going to have your 2 best playmakers on the outside available to you if you're Matt Ryan. So I'm really confident as far as the offense looking better in this game than they did about a month ago down in Jacksonville. But Pierce is proving to be more than just a one-trick pony where they line him up on the outside and tell him to go down the far sideline and make a contested catch. He's making possession-type receptions, crossing patterns, and he had 3 big receptions on that last drive of the game in regulation to set up the Colts with a game-tying field goal in Denver. So I know he's a rookie and he's played in 3 games or 4 games, but he's really further along than that, and Matt Ryan has a lot of trust in him, and the Colts are going to need him big time coming up this weekend.
He's the voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, joining Kevin and Query 93.5 and 107.5, the Fan on the Payless Liquors hotline. Matt, you mentioned the offensive line. Are the struggles that we've seen with the offensive line, is that something you see that can be cleaned up in season?
Well, I mean, it hasn't been yet. And, obviously they tried some new things on a short week with no practice. I mean, they changed up 60% of their offensive line, in a 4-day span there with Denver looming. And, they still gave up 6 sacks. So they're trying to figure that out. And, is it Braden Smith at tackle or is it guard? Is it Matt Pryor at tackle or is it guard? Or is it, Will Fries or Danny Pinter at guard and stay with Ryan Kelly at center? I mean, everything is being examined right now. It's all hands on deck. I don't think there's any wrong answers considering the fact that, you've allowed 21 sacks on the season, 11 sacks in the last 2 games. Everybody needs to be looked at, and, everybody needs to look in the mirror because I think it's communication, it's one-on-one breakdowns, and it's just everybody not playing up to their potential and certainly, the standards they set for themselves in years past. And, I know this has been talked about, but it's primarily, not across the board, but primarily the same offensive line, core-wise, that's been here since 2018, that's played together for a long time with Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith. And, in 18, they led the NFL in fewest sacks allowed with 18. Well, they've already allowed more than that in 5 games. So they've got to get it cleaned up, and I'm not smart enough to have the answers. If I did, I'd give it to them. They're still searching, and they will continue to search until they get it corrected on tape. And Frank Reich's exactly right this week. It's, if the strip sacks and the fumbles by Matt Ryan and the pressures and the total sack numbers, those are going to continue to be there, and the way that the defense is getting them is going to continue to be prevalent until you shut it down on tape. Until then, it's piranha in the water, it's blood in the water, and we're going to keep using those same tactics until you prove that you can stop this leaky faucet. And the Colts have done that in the past. I mean, everything that the Colts have seen so far that's given them trouble this year, they've been able to shut down in years past with this unit. Again, those core players. But for whatever reason this year, teams are just able to get home, and they've got to get it corrected. That's the biggest issue going into this game.
Voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor, he's with us, and he'll be on the call this Sunday. Again, it'll be Jacksonville at Lucas Oil Stadium. The home team in this matchup has won 10 straight. Mayte, kind of on that point, I feel like first and second down success has been really lacking for the Colts. They get behind the chains. I felt like they got behind the chains big time last Thursday in Denver. And that is kind of the blood in the water to me of, sure, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, you'd like to, if you are taking a sack, you'd like to just hold on to the football, but it sets up more of those turnover type of opportunities. And I feel like if they had better success on first and second down, and maybe it's pass to run, maybe it's not run to pass like they have been in years past, maybe it's pass to run, then all of a sudden you could be in better third down situations. And even if you don't convert all those, maybe you would just fall into more punts, which at this point would be baby steps in the right direction for this offense.
No question about it. You're exactly right. I mean, the Colts are 24th in the NFL on third down conversion rate, 36%. But if you look at the numbers deeper than that, almost half. It's 47%. 47% of the third downs that the Colts have faced this year have been 7 yards or longer in order to get a first down.
Gosh, that's huge.
It's first and second down success or lack thereof. And so, yeah, I mean, again, you talk about the offensive line earlier. It's everything needs to be examined on first and second down. You're getting behind the chains, and maybe that's, forcing your hand in terms of play calling, and maybe you're having to throw your way back into the game. Everything is, it's sort of like the human body. Everything's connected, right? So if you're getting down early on the scoreboard, you kind of have to change up your game plan. Maybe you don't run the ball as much as you want to or you think you need to. Now you have to throw the ball to get back into the game, and you throw an incomplete pass on first down. Then you run the ball on second down. All of a sudden it's 3rd and 7. It's 3rd and 8. And so all of these things are starting to add up. And honestly, the third downs are leading to turnovers as well. You're getting into 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 and longer. And then you're throwing a pick, or then you're getting sacked in the pocket, and then you're losing a fumble. All of these things sort of correlate together. And you're exactly right. It's going to sound crazy, but you could live with the Colts scoring 13.8 points per game and the 21 sacks if you just don't turn it over. The turnovers are killing this team, especially considering how good the defense has been. The defense is giving up only 18 points per game, which is 10th best in the NFL, but 46 points the Colts have allowed this year off of turnovers is by far and away the most in the NFL. So if you just cut down the turnovers and make teams drive the length of the field and not give them short fields following an offensive turnover by the Colts, they're going to be in better situations. To your point, even if these drives end in punts instead of lost fumbles or interceptions, that's way better than turning the football over. So the defense is certainly, carrying the Colts right now, keeping them in games, allowing these fourth-quarter comebacks to happen. But, first and second down efficiency, that's got to be looked at, and then just holding on to the ball and not turning the ball over for the Colts. That's been the killer. And I think if the Colts don't have nearly as many turnovers as they do, right now they sit with 11 turnovers, which is 30th in the league. If they don't have nearly as many turnovers, they might have one more win. Heck, they might even have two more wins, and that's considering. That also factors in the 13.8 and the 21 sacks. If you just knock off the turnovers, you might be 4-1 or 3-2.
I believe Matt Taylor said the human body's connected. Mark, I thought he was going to break out in a head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes.
Only if Jake's here.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. No, maybe.
Well, see, when your back hurts, it's because your feet hurt, right? Everything's connected. Your shoulder hurt, your ribs hurt. Everything's connected.
Look at that. Voice of the Colts and part-time athletic trainer, Matt Taylor.
It's kinesiology 101.
Right, exactly. I don't know. It sounded like 201 or 301 there.
Matt, Bernard Ryman looks to be the left tackle going forward. Will he be the last left tackle that they try at the position this season?
I can't answer that, but I know they want him to be. They want him to be the left tackle of the future, and they went through some growing pains there. Certainly last Thursday in Denver, he had 3 holding penalties, which I think is the most holding penalties by one offensive lineman in the NFL in a game this year. Now, some of them were ticky-tack, but that's what you're going to have to live with when you've had so much instability along the offensive line, and you're trying to grow somebody and groom somebody to be that long-term. So growing pains and baptism by fire, and I think he'll be significantly better this week. That was a tall order. No practice last week, plus he's coming off an injury. He banged up his ankle going into that Kansas City game, and you're trying to slow down Bradley Chubb off the edge. That's difficult. Now, obviously, Jacksonville's got some guys that are in that category as well, right? They've got Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. So, this is the NFL. You're going to have a stiff test every week, but I think he's going to be considerably better this week than he was last week, considering he's got a full week of practice, another week removed from that injury, and so hopefully they get some better results just across the board, but certainly at that really imperative position at left tackle.
Yeah, I feel like you just got to let him develop. He's going to make mistakes. It's what a rookie's going to do. Just let him develop, get some reps under him, and just roll with it.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So now what do you do with Matt Pryor, right? Is he a guard or is he a tackle? And is he one of your 5 best offensive linemen in that equation going forward? Everything's on the table, and obviously I don't think we're going to get a flat-out definitive answer today from Frank Reich, nor should we, trying to keep some things close to the vest. But maybe warm-ups for that first series against Jacksonville, that's when we're going to get our answer.
Yeah, I would move Pryor to guard, but I'm not necessarily thinking that that's 100% what they're going to do with Braden Smith. I'd keep Braden Smith at right tackle, but again, we'll have to see. Okay, Mate, we'll end with this one. These next 2 weeks, I cannot, it's obvious, but you cannot stress enough, I think, how important these are. I almost look at it like if you go 2-0, your chance of making the playoffs and in this divisional drought is like 70%, maybe even higher. You go 1-1, now you're talking maybe a coin flip. You go 0-2, and all of a sudden you need to pray the rosary every minute of the day the rest of the year to get back into the playoff picture. Can you kind of put into words? I know it's difficult just how important these next 2 weeks are.
Well, you got one at home, and then the other one is a place where you've had relatively good success in the past. Now, the last year didn't go your way down in Nashville, and it's a difficult place to play against a really good team. Plus, Tennessee's on the bye, right? So they're going to be rested, and they've got 2 full weeks to get ready for the Colts to make some tweaks and changes on their end, heading into a really important division game for them as well, right? They're the champs until somebody knocks them off, but no, you're exactly right. The most wins the Colts can get in the division is 3, And I don't even know if that's going to be enough. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this all transpires towards the end of the season. But the best you can do is 3-2-1 in the AFC South, and so you're going to need some things to break your way. But the bottom line is, you just got to start taking care of business. You got to start handling the things that you can control and start getting some wins. Because what is it, Kevin? 4 straight winless games against the AFC South here for the Colts.
Yeah, and again, down by 3 scores in each of those 4.
Right. So if they lose coming up on Sunday, knock on wood, but if should they lose, it'll be the longest drought or winless drought for the Colts. 5 straight games where they will come up short or not win when you factor in the tie. That would be the longest drought since the AFC South was formed for the Colts back in 2002. So, again, I'm not sure if 3 wins inside the division is going to be enough, but you just can't keep lowering that margin for error. You got to start taking care of business, knowing that the schedule starts to heat up with non-AFC South games. Past Halloween with Las Vegas on the schedule. Philly's really good. Dallas is really good. Minnesota looks to be pretty good. The Chargers, the Giants are they only have 1 loss so far. So you just can't keep riding this razor thin line of trying to play mistake-free football. You're only going to get 1 AFC South game in the last 10, and that doesn't come until Week 18 against the Houston Texans. So, yeah, I mean, it's not hyperbole. These next 2 games are absolutely monster games for the Colts in deciding if they're going to be an AFC South champion and if they're going to be in the thick of it for a wild card spot in the parity-filled conference that is the AFC here.
Yeah, obviously things can and will change until December, but I don't think a lot of people thought, including me, when the schedule came out in May, you'd be looking at Dallas at 4-1, Minnesota at 4-1, and the Giants at 4-1, and those are all teams the Colts will see after Thanksgiving this year. Matt Taylor, enjoy a little baseball if you can. Sneak it in this weekend, and we'll see you Sunday up in the press box.
You got it, pal. Yeah, 2 TV day. Let's go, brother.
Let's do it. Matt Taylor right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Again, Mark, that back half there, particularly I think Minnesota and the Giants. Mm-hmm. Those are a couple games. I think everybody thought the Chargers would be in the mix, but starting with the Monday after Thanksgiving, I think that's when you got the Steelers. Obviously, they don't look like they're going to be in the mix. But then the Cowboys, that bye week. It could be a Steelers team with TJ Watt back.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
And then you got your Super Bowl pick, the Raiders.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Much need to buy.
But the Eagles, that's going to be a tough one. The Cowboys, Dak, I don't know who they're going at quarterback at that point, but the Cowboys are looking good. So you've got some tough games coming up for the Colts. You need to start stacking some wins.
We got the pop quiz coming up in about 5 minutes, and then we'll give our Friday picks. I did want to note something on the offensive line. Again, Bernard Ryman, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly. It sounds like that's going to be the left side and center, assuming Kelly maintains the health. He did practice yesterday, limited. The right side, Mark, part of me thinks they might be running it back with what we saw on Thursday night, and that would be Braden Smith at right guard and Matt Pryor at right tackle. I'd probably flip the 2.
Yeah.
And I would maybe even think about Will Fries at right guard. Joe Reitz mentioned that with us a little bit earlier. But you think back to that Week 2 game with Jacksonville. Individually, they roasted you. The other area that they really beat you up front, I felt like it was a lot of stunts and kind of miscommunication, if you remember. That was kind of the early issue. It was, boy, you just can't handle the stunts and the twists and all of that. That'll be something to continue to watch because if you do continue to change the O-line, communication becomes front and center as well.
And you're all about chemistry and cohesion. I just feel like Matt Pryor is a offensive lineman without a position at the moment. They don't know what they've got in them. They don't know where to line them up. And I feel like that's a dangerous game to be playing.
It cannot be tackle. No. You can't do tackle. If you do tackle, Sam Ehlinger and Nick Foles need to start warming up. Are they going to dress Ehlinger? That's something I'm still watching for.
I don't know. That'll be interesting. Because, if Matt Ryan gets laid out or something, are you really going to the well with Foles? It's not going to get you very far. Trust me, it's not going to.
All right, the pop quiz is coming up again. We had a 5 for 5 earlier in the week. Scotty has literally done his Dikembe Mutombo the last couple of days for the pop quiz. We'll see how things round out today. It is a freebie Friday, so Jiffy Lube oil change will be going to anyone that gets on air with us here in a few. Let's hit a morning check down here on The Fan.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Ball State Football. Get your tickets at ballstatesports.com. Omaha! On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, looking at baseball. Yesterday, only one game because the Guardians and Yankees got postponed. They'll play later today. But the Astros took care of Kevin's Seattle Mariners 4-2. Jordan Alvarez continues to dominate the Seattle Mariners. They're just going to have night terrors this entire offseason of Jordan Alvarez, just going deep on them all day. So that was the only game. Astros take a 2-0 lead in that one. Today, a triple header of games that get started with the Guardians and Yankees making up their postponed game from last night. That pitches at 1:07. Then following that is the Braves at the Phillies at 4:37. Series is tied there at 1-1. Also tied 1-1 is the Dodgers and Padres series. That has a first pitch of 8:37.
We get best of five here in the divisional.
Kevin's hoping for a rally here.
Jordan Alvarez, maybe some stake in Pike's Place. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. In the Seattle area?
I think at this point, you're just hoping that they hold up the four fingers, like to send them to first.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, but then Bregman's behind him, and we watch what Bregman did do in game one. All right, looking ahead tonight to the Pacers. Preseason action, their second home game, the final preseason game here in 2022. Our coverage begins at 6:30, so Colts happy hour at 5:30 tonight. Pacers and Rockets on our airwaves at 6:30. Indiana Sports Talk at 10 o'clock. For the Pacers, I think it will probably have a little bit less of a dress rehearsal feel than Wednesday night. We'll see if Tyrese Halliburton plays. He had the sore back on Wednesday. Some roster moves to make over the weekend, and then they will get their regular season started next week with the Washington Wizards on Wednesday night.
Thursday night football, week 6 has got kicked off with a banger, as they say.
No, boy.
The kids don't call it that? No. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Commanders and the Bears.
The wall? Like Gus Farrat banging his head against the wall?
The banger was, Bears fans collectively smacking their head into the ground. Commanders topped the Bears 12-7. They got gifted a touchdown after Velus Jones botches a punt return. That was awful. Carson Wentz couldn't do much of anything. He only had 99 yards passing. Bears gifted him that win. Hopefully the stink of Thursday night football changes heading into week 7. I think we got Saints Cardinals on Thursday night. We should see quite a few touchdowns in that one. Of course, we've got Jaguars and Colts on Sunday and another full slate of games. The bye weeks are starting, so we're getting some teams off.
A handful of teams of the bye, right?
Lions, Texans, Raiders, Titans. That's those are teams that could use a bye week, I think.
I need a quarterback in one of my fantasy leagues this week.
Yeah, I think that's in our league, and I saw you're rolling solo at the moment with not a single quarterback in there.
I think I might have picked up Zach Wilson. I don't know, maybe one for the moms out there this week.
Yeah, that's what you're doing at that point. If you're going to Zach, is our depth at quarterback really that depleted that you're going to Zach Wilson as your best option?
I don't know. Take a look at the free agency and tell me if I'm missing something here. I play Jake, by the way, so you should team up with me this week.
I beat him last week, so the pressure's on you, KB. Other highlights for week 6, I guess you got Vikings, Dolphins. That's an all right one. Boy, there's not much.
The Cowboys,
Bills, Chiefs is easily the highlight. Yeah. Cowboys, Eagles on Sunday night. Monday night's all right. Chargers, Broncos. The Broncos stink, though. The Broncos absolutely stink.
See where Russell Wilson is health-wise in the Chargers. Obviously, a big one there in the AFC West. All right, it is time for the pop quiz. 317-239-1070. We'll look for the second 5 for 5 this week, and we'll close out the show with giving our Sunday picks. Kevin and Corey, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Ball State football is back in Muncie Saturday, October 15th against UConn. Secure tickets at ballstatesports.com or charge by phone 888-BSU-TICKET. Chirp, chirp.
A new season is here, and major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan? Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky Season 2, Wednesdays, 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Guys, listen up. If you're suffering from hair loss, then you got to check out Bosley. Bosley offers the most advanced technology to restore your hair. All it takes is a simple one-day procedure to get your hair back. Plus, Bosley can help you keep the hair you have and grow more hair where you need it most. There is no comparison when it comes to hair restoration. Bosley is literally America's most experienced hair restoration experts. And believe me, you want to go to the experts. The doctors at Bosley have done the most procedures using the latest technology, and experience matters. Best of all, Bosley's permanent solution is backed by Bosley's guarantee. It's a no-brainer. When it comes to restoring your hair, you want to go with the name America trusts. That's Bosley. Check them out today. Get a free information kit and gift card for $250 off when you text WIN to 203-203. That's WIN to 203-203. Don't wait. Take action now and get your hair back. Text WIN to 203-203.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Have you been thinking about a home equity line of credit? Maybe you have some questions about them. Well, the experts are here to help. A home equity line of credit is an easy way to pull out your equity without touching your current mortgage. Right now, your home equity is at an all-time high, but don't wait. How much can you get? Let's find out today by visiting thehomeloanexpert.com, home of the 10-day closing guarantee. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Don't forget the adults this Halloween with trick-or-treat bags for Payless Liquors. Choose from Fireball or 99 brands. They're only $13.49. Payless has Love Bite wine from Easley Winery for only $9.99, and Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc is $12.99. Plus 175s of Old Forester 86 is $31.99, and all 26 Payless Liquor stores have Old Smoky Pumpkin Spice in stock. And be sure to scan the QR codes in stores to register for Bud Light Fan Zone tickets or a great tailgate package from Bullseye Event Group and Jameson Irish Whiskey. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Hey, JMV, for your 14 Central Indiana Joe Childers run CarX locations, there's one near you. Full service auto repair specialist with brakes, tires, engine alignments, exhaust, oil changes, all within their repertoire. And by the way, the JMV specials coming up for you, $109.99, lifetime brake pads per axle, and save $200 on a set of 4 select Continental tires. Your 14 Central Indiana Joe Childers run CarX locations, there's one near you. To find it, CarX.com today.
Wendy's new French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me, did you just say Wendy's new French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Halliburton drives to his right and buries a 3.
The new-look Indiana Pacers are in action.
Spins away from top and gets into the lane.
And the goal isn't all about wins.
There are going to be some highs and some lows.
It's all about growing the next crop of stars.
Mathurin continues to impress.
This group will be worth the wait.
Beautiful play, Halliburton.
I thought last night he looked pretty damn good.
I've been very impressed by Bennedict Mathurin.
Mathurin down the right side.
All season on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
Pop quiz time, and Scotty walked into the studio. Mark, I've never seen him with a bigger smile on his face. And I would care to venture the reason for that is because he knows without Jake, the integrity of the pop quiz has never been held to a higher standard than what it will about to be held
I don't know. This question 5 is a big double bird to me. I don't appreciate that one at all, so I might give some hints here just in spite of that question 5.
There's a reason I haven't brought that up yet in the show. I don't know. I keep Mark in a good mood. You got a big road trip coming up.
Yeah. I don't want to think about that. That's not a good sports memory for me.
I would assume hints would be at a minimum today.
Well,
maybe.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I got remembered that Carson Wentz was rocking a black fedora and camo jacket in his post-game press conference. I'm like, you lost to that guy.
Yeah, he looked ridiculous.
You couldn't crack 100 yards, and he's rocking a camo jacket and a black fedora. What in the blue hell? I'm not a fashion connoisseur. That seems like that you need to go to the penalty box for that.
What in the blue hell there from Marc Dykton. How about a number 1 through 8 as we get to this Freebie Friday on the Pop Quiz?
Let's go caller 5.
5. The points the Bears scored last night. Oh, just
what?
That's just a little bit over that. Who we got? Sam Fritz.
5 is Eric.
Eric. Good morning, Eric.
Morning.
How you doing, man?
I can't complain.
Eric, what's on the weekend agenda?
I got 3 kids, so nothing.
Well, there we go.
I'm right there with you, man.
We got soccer games. We got a pumpkin patch. We got anything?
Apple orchard in your future. Some golden delicious.
I've already checked those off.
There you go.
Okay, well, you got the fall bingo card filled out there. We had a 5 for 5 earlier in the week. Eric, was there any self-motivation to accomplish the first ever 2 5 for 5s in 1 week?
Oh, yeah. I'm motivated.
He's got 3 kids. He's got drama around. He needs that oil change.
Seems fired up on this Friday morning. Mark, you want to throw number 1 towards Eric?
Sure, Eric. You have my thoughts and prayers with the 3 kids. I'm right there with you. IU hosts Maryland tomorrow. Who holds the lead in the all-time series?
IU.
Number 2, there are currently 3 former Maryland Terrapins on the Colts roster. Name one of the 3. Definitely had one of these on the show, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Another one wants to come on the show.
Uh-huh.
One is a rookie, and one was a...
One has lost his starting job already this season.
Yeah.
Kelly? Dennis Kelly? No.
He's made a couple pit stops in his NFL career already.
Yeah.
And he landed in the Colts, if that helps at all.
You know, I think for the rest of the quiz, you might be doing the sign of the...
Yeah. Defeat.
Sign of defeat. Any guesses here, Eric?
No, I got nothing.
Dennis Kelly, that's the guess?
That's my guess.
All right. On Wednesday, the Braves closer Kenley Jansen earned his 20th career postseason save. Good for second place on the all-time list. Mariano Rivera is number 1. How many postseason saves did Rivera record during his Hall of Fame career? And there is a hint here from Scotty. It says Rivera number of postseason saves is the same as his uniform number. Does that help
42.
at all? Oh, okay.
Kenley Jansen, can he play left tackle for the Colts? Every time he runs out there, I always think he can play in the NFL. All right, number 4, Eric. 50 years ago today, this player became the first in Major League history to hit home runs in his first 2 career World Series at-bats. Joe Morgan, Reggie Jackson, Hal McRae, or Gene Tennis?
Oh.
Who were you going with there?
I was going to say Andrew Jones.
Oh, 50 years ago today.
Oh, 50 years today. Okay.
Yep. Joe Morgan, Reggie Jackson, Hal McRae, or Gene Tennis?
That's the only one I know, Reggie Jackson.
Okay. I'm subtly seeing...
Mark, read this with some emotion.
I'm seeing what Kevin did here when he's like, "Oh, take question 1."
Yeah.
Because he knew I get questions 1, 3, and 5. And question 5, again, double birds, kicking the you-know-what for me from Scotty. Today marks the 19th anniversary, yay, of the Steve Bartman play. With the Cubs leading
People still dress up as Bartman for Halloween.
Oh, God, I hope not. With the Cubs leading the Florida Marlins 3-0 in the 8th inning of Game 6 of the National League Championship Series, Luis Castillo's foul ball down the left field line. You're like making me relive this all over again. Luis Castillo's foul ball down the left field line evaded the glove of Cubs outfielder Moises Alou when fan Steve Bartman reached the ball and deflected it out of Alou's grasp. The Cubs then melted down. Of course they did, giving up 8 runs in the inning to lose Game 6 and going on to lose Game 7 the following night. After all that, thanks Scotty for the memory lane. Who was the Cubs pitcher during the Bartman play? Was it A, Carlos Zambrano, B, Mark Pryor, C, Kyle Farnsworth, or D, Antonio Alfonseca?
Towards the end of the game, so I would say Farnsworth.
No, who was the starting the pitcher during the Bartman play itself? So yeah, you're saying Farnsworth is your guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, if it was Carlos Zambrano, I think he would have ran to the stands and picked up Bartman and just thrown him on wavelength.
I feel like Moises Alou kind of replicated Carlos Zambrano with his reaction.
Zambrano a little bit more intimidating than Mr. P on my bat Alou. Or it was a pee on his hands.
Pee on his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the hands on the bat.
Callus is the hands. Okay.
Now, 3-0 lead, it should be noted there. You know, at that point, the starting pitcher could be still in the game with pitching as effectively as he was. All right, let's see how Eric did on this Freebie Friday. No matter what happens, Eric, stay on the line. IU hosts Maryland in football tomorrow. Shockingly, it's the Hoosiers that lead the all-time series.
I'm still getting over question 5.
Well, I was disappointed in 2. There's currently 3 former Maryland Terrapins on the Colts roster. Name one of the 3. Byron Cowart would have been very difficult to get. That's one of them.
That was the hardest one, yeah.
Dennis Kelly was the guess. I was going with you might need to do the sign of the...
Cross for Nick Cross.
Yeah.
Or Yannick Ngakoue. I was giving the hints that he's had a couple stops. The Vikings, the Raiders.
Neither of those resonated, so that is the end.
Sorry, Eric.
Stay on the line.
He was correct about question 3, though. Mariano Rivera is number 42. 50 years ago, it was Gene Tennis. A's beat the Reds 3-2 at Riverfront Stadium to become the home run.
Reggie Jackson.
Not Reggie Jackson. And then it was Mark Pryor, who was on the towel drill guy, who was on the hook for the meltdown that was the Cubs and the Steve Bartman game. I can't believe it's been 19 years already. I remember that game like it was yesterday.
I say this with all sincerity. I'm reminded that it was 8 runs in that inning.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the shortstop that booted the ground ball that could have got them?
Alex Gonzalez. Yeah. It should have been a for sure double play, and he kicked it around, and it was just it was awful. I just remember I cried. I think I was 19 years ago. I definitely think tears shed because this is it.
Right.
I know it's only game 6. Yep. They're not, and they came out and they just went right down their leg.
Old and crying.
I was not 28. How old do you think I am?
I'm just picturing Jake, who's like, "Yeah, you were born in 1983, right?" I'm like, "No, we've been over this."
Yeah, Jake thinks we're all like pushing
13
40
times.
Yeah, Game 7. I was like, "There's no way," and then sure enough, they didn't even show up in Game 7.
Either of you guys watched the Yankees game the other night when Josh Donaldson hit it off the top of the wall?
Yeah,
that was almost kind of a Bartman moment there. Now that would have been for a home run, and the guy in right field just didn't catch it. If he catches that, that's a home run, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it was literally off the top of the wall, and Yankee Stadium, I assume this is throughout their entire outfield, they don't have like the line. Some of these stadiums you have the line at the top. There was no line there, and Donaldson frankly, half-assed it down the first base line, and then he rounds first to get to second. They actually picked him off at first on that play.
Then going back to Steve Bartman, 9 other people's hands went up there. He was the unfortunate guy that the ball hit. He got wrongly crucified. I mean, it's just been...
And you know what?
I don't think he's been seen yet. They say he's been to a game. I'm like, you can show yourself now. It's all good.
I don't think the outfit helped him.
No, the green turtleneck,
That's a tough look.
The 1980 headphones.
And you know what? We support the radio industry, so thank you very much, Steve, for doing that.
Appreciate it.
2000 and
wherever you're at these days.
3. All right, we'll give our picks. Some Friday locks. I've got a couple of NFL ones that I really like for this weekend. The Colts -2. If you missed Joe Reitz's pick, we'll share that again. And we'll give ours here to round out the show. Kevin and Query with Marc Dykton filling in today for Jake on a really nice start to this Friday morning here in Indy.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with Peak Long Life Universal Pre-Mixed Antifreeze and Coolant. Now just $3.99 after mail-in rebate. Limit supply. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Colts fans, now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Right now, you can get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code MARK. FanDuel is all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. You can combine your bets to make a bigger payout with the same game parlay, one of my favorite things on FanDuel Sportsbook. They have everyday odds, boosts, and specials. They have the app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. When you win, you get paid quick. And they have live betting. So even when the games are going on, you get updated odds on the games that have already started. Again, don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, as long as you sign up with promo code MARK. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Indianapolis Colts. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint.
He's a 10.
And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose.
But we're gonna win.
Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
Hey, it's JMV. Is it time to think about replacing your old water softener? Not only are Connecticut water softeners brilliantly designed to work and will provide your family plenty of soft water on demand, but now is the best time to act. How about $1,000 off a Premier softener? Yeah, $1,000 and up to $500 off a K5. That's serious savings only from Connecticut. Visit Connecticut at 8828 Corporation Drive today or visit ConnecticutIndy.com. Again, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
To beat back winter weather, you got to plan and prepare to win, because good labor's hard to find. Get ready with the new Boss Snow Raider. It's the ultimate sidewalk solution and the new standard for on-the-job productivity. With a Boss Snow Raider, you'll be more equipped to tackle wintry sidewalks than ever before. Keep them open with a Boss Snow Raider, now in stock and ready to rock. Boss, built to back you up.
Get them before they're sold out at Midstate Truck Equipment, Allisonville Road at 106th Street, 849-4903 or mid-statetruck.com.
The new Google Pixel 7 Pro is super, especially when it's on Verizon, the network America relies on. It's supercharged, super powered, and a super...
deal.
You know it. Now, switch to Verizon and get the Google Pixel 7 Pro on us with select trade-ins and select 5G unlimited plans.
That really is super.
Yep. There's never been a better time to switch to Verizon. $899.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line on select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with port-in. Less $700 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens. The big fall sale is on until October 16th at Sundown Gardens. That means 20% off container trees and shrubs and 30% off all bald and burlapped evergreen and shade trees. The Kids Zone with the pumpkin launch is open every Saturday through Halloween weekend. Check out their 10 fall picture stations for photos with the family. Look up Sundown Gardens on Facebook and Instagram. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, just west of Grand Park. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com.
Join me today. We're going to have it rocking, rolling, and ready to go. Noon to 3, the Cash Man joins, Hammer Time joins, of course, KB joins. Can't wait. Join me today, noon to 3.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, we're going to give out our picks here to close things out, but I do need some fantasy football advice. Derek Carr, I'm playing Jake this week, all right? Derek Carr and Jared Goff, stupid me. This is why I'm a terrible fantasy football player. I draft two quarterbacks that both have bye weeks, the same. So I'm scrambling. I'm on the waiver wire. I decided to go with Zach Wilson. Mark, rightfully so, questioning my decision. These are the quarterbacks available in our league right now. Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Skylar Thompson, Mac Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan, Cooper Rush, P.J. Walker, Kenny Pickett.
I mean, my vote is Jameis Winston. I feel like he's...
Isn't he hurt, though?
But, I mean, look at your options. Your options aren't good. At least Jameis Winston, like, he can sling the ball. He might throw 5 picks.
He didn't play last week, back and ankle injury, and I think the Bengals' defense is actually decent.
And you don't want to risk Russell Wilson because he said he's playing on Monday and he could be out.
Right. Daniel Jones is projected to get 18 points against the Ravens. That surprises me.
I mean, sure, not from passing, probably rushing for touchdowns, I guess.
Zach Wilson at Green Bay. That's what I'm going with. Gosh, that's a humbling starting quarterback for me. And Jake's got Josh Allen. No big deal.
I mean,
I would really like to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, I beat him last week, not to brag, but I mean, I took care of business. It's kind of on you now, Kev.
Okay, good humility from Mark here. That chair is really fitting you well here to end this.
I feel a change approaching.
Oh, I stand corrected. No, Josh Allen. It's Trevor Lawrence for Jake.
There you go.
So he's starting the Colts enemy.
Wow, what a jerk.
All right, it's time to give out our picks.
That's kind of wild, though. Chiefs defense is nothing to write home about.
Chiefs.
If he's got Josh Allen.
Oh, he does not have Josh Allen. I was wrong on that. He has Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. Well, even still.
He has Aaron Rodgers and Trevor Lawrence. And he's
Aaron
going
Rodgers
with Trevor
against
Lawrence
the Giants defense.
over Aaron Rodgers, which I don't know if I agree with.
Yeah, it's weird. You might have a chance.
People are saying Daniel Jones. All right. I might. Okay, it's time to give out our picks, and as we do every Friday, we'll end with the Colts selection, but we'll also go with any locks that you like. I do also want to give our Bills-Chiefs thoughts because I do think that's kind of the regular season game of the year. I'll begin here. Locally, college-wise, I have not done this in recent weeks, but I'm going to reverse it. I will take IU to cover, and I will take Purdue's opponent to cover. I've rode Purdue for the last couple of weeks, and it's worked out very well for me. I've picked against IU the last couple of weeks, and it's worked out well. I had to tease a little bit with the Michigan game, but I just think IU's got to cover at home 11 or whatever it is with Maryland, and I think Nebraska covers 13.5. I still think Purdue wins, but I think Nebraska covers that.
I've got the exact same right there for me. Do you have any other college picks on your end?
That was really it for me college-wise. Sam, was your lock a little bit more NFL or college?
No, I got college, and this one's surprising to me. Kansas Jayhawks are the underdogs away at Oklahoma.
Starting quarterback is hurt.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing that as being that big. They're being offered +9 on my end.
Boy, that's a big line.
And I think that's worth taking. Honestly, even with a hurt starting quarterback, there's that popular phrase out there that the best thing that can happen to an undefeated team is their first loss. And after suffering a close loss to TCU last week, I think you have a fired-up Jayhawks team playing a not great Sooners. I'll take them +9, no problem.
The only other college game I have, Oklahoma State, is 4-point underdogs to TCU. I will take Oklahoma State.
The Tennessee-Alabama game, if that line gets to 7.5, Tennessee is an underdog at home. The Bryce Young injury, I think I'm on the Vols. I think that'll be rocking Neyland Stadium. I get it. Alabama goes in those environments and win, but still, 7.5 to me, that's a lot for a home team. Okay, my NFL locks. I've got two that I like. I am going with the Browns, the Jacoby Brissett Browns to cover 2.5 at home against the Patriots, and the Cincinnati Bengals to cover 1.5 at the Saints. So I'm going with both Ohio teams to cover.
Okay. I've got the Saints. The last I checked, it was still the Bengals are 2.5-point favorites there. I'm going to roll with the Saints, though. I feel like something goes on.
You are all about Jameis.
Something goes on in the Superdome over there. I feel like something's going to be weird. The Bengals have been hit and miss, I feel like, on a weekly basis. And I like the Saints' defense. I will take the Saints to cover the 2.5 against the Bengals. Also, the team I've been riding with all season, you laughed at me when I made this pick a week or two ago. The Falcons are a perfect 5-0 against the spread this season. I've got them covering in their game. Give me the Falcons.
Who they got?
Who do they have? I don't even remember.
Gosh, now you really sound like Jake.
Yeah, I had it in front of me, and they got the 49ers. Yeah. 49ers. I'm telling you. I will roll with again, they're at home in Atlanta. I'll be passing by there. Might stop at Magic City, try the lemon pepper wings.
Oh,
I got famous, so I'm going to try those.
I got a buddy who lives just north of Atlanta.
My wife says, "No, you're just." By the way, happy birthday to Ashley. By the way, it's her birthday today.
Oh, you guys stopping at the?
Well, I told her. I said I'd like to stop at Magic City, and she gave me a look. And she's like, "You're just getting wings, right?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, I can't help what the eyes see, but yeah, I would like to just get the wings."
The Lou Williams recommendation.
Yeah. So happy birthday, Ashley. I love you. We'll have a fun road trip and everything like that. Falcons at home against the 49ers. Give me the Falcons +5.5.
Sam Fritz.
Dallas is going to be at the Link taking on undefeated Eagles. Living in Philly for 2 years, I know what happens when Dallas makes the trip out to Philly. I got Eagles at -6.5. I think that's no problem. Even more of a lock than that to me is Monday Night Football, though. Chargers Broncos. They're currently offering Chargers -4.5. I against this year's Broncos team, I don't see how you don't take that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is an interesting line, especially with Wilson's injury situation. All right, let's go in reverse order. Sam, the Colts and the Jags. And again, Joe Reitz was with us earlier. Joe Reitz went with the Colts by a touchdown plus with Jacksonville. Jake said 20-16 Colts. Sam Fritz?
I am prepared to get a bunch of I told you so's for this. I will be producing the post game, so callers, feel free to throw me under the bus. But I'm going to take the Jaguars. I think Jags, let's just say by a touchdown. I really don't have any. I would just take the money line on this one.
Okay. I've got it being a bit
You want to
close.
give out your Twitter handle so people can rip it?
I don't have any social media.
Oh, man. I've got the Colts edging out the Jaguars 17-13.
I do a Colts podcast, Kevin's Corner, and earlier this week I literally predicted 20-16, and when Jake said it, I'm like, did he get that from the podcast? I'll tack a field goal on to my original score. I'll go 23-19. Again, I think Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce being available.
We got a 23-19.
Will be the difference. And again, I cannot get over Jacksonville. 13 straight road losses within the AFC South. Marc Dykton, I appreciated it. Sam Fritz, thank you. Mark, enjoy the vacation. We'll recap it all on Monday with you here. Kevin and Corey.
The last time the Colts tangled with the Jaguars, they